Welcome to Happy Hour, brought to you by Best Damn Bookkeeping. I don't know if that is supposed to play at the beginning. Did we play that at the radio show? Yeah. I just left it in there because it's fun.
I like it. Yeah.
So Justin and I will catch all the rest of y'all up on what the hell we're talking about. But we were starting to have this conversation. I was like, wait, we're doing the podcast already, so we should go live.
No warm up.
So I'm wearing this Eau Claire, University of Wisconsin Eau Claire Recreation Champion shirt, and I'll say I'm a little proud that it still fits. I think it's a size extra medium. Yeah. just barely squeaks me in it still. But I don't remember, like when we played intramural sports at Eau Claire, if your team won the championship or if you won the championship or whatever, you'd get a shirt and a beer mug. Mm-hmm. And we had I'm guessing it was from flag football. We had a hell of a run in flag football back in the day. We called our team name became the Overdogs. Like we were just expected to win. We were expected to win. And it was one of those things. Finally, when we got beat, we retired. We were like, we went like 4 years. I think the only reason I went to Eau Claire for a fifth year was just to, keep playing flag football until somebody beat us.
Yeah, you want to get beat so you actually feel like you're human still. You're like, what's happening?
finally somebody beat us. I think our fifth year and took the crown from us. And then I was able to. It was like Talladega Nights when the Frenchie comes over, and wants to prove somebody can beat him. It's all like that.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I paid for a whole extra year of school just to keep playing flag football. Yeah,
this is so much fun. But I had lost track of this shirt, and last night Marty and I were doing some laundry, and I don't know how this happens. Like, just randomly every once in a while, all of a sudden, you just run out of damn hangers. And we haven't run out of hangers in like 2 or 3 years. I don't know where all these hangers went. Like what?
Yeah. Where are they going?
Is there a hanger thief that came in and robbed us of hangers? Yeah. Or did the t-shirts multiply? Or is it just that we always have so much laundry in circulation and finally after 3 years we caught up?
Yeah,
that's the logical explanation is we maybe finally caught up on laundry and there's nothing dirty. And so all the hangers are used up. So I had to start going through the closet and going through and like trying to get rid of shirts because we didn't have any hangers. And I was like, well, I want to hang these ones up, but I'm sure I have stuff in here that I haven't worn in 5 years.
Yes.
I started going through and I got to this shirt and I was like, I haven't worn it in a while, but I can't get rid of that one yet. It's my last one. I had so many of them and I still have like 20 beer mugs, but I don't have so many shirts left. So anyway,
that's right. Yeah. I get to that point and then my financial mind is like, does it make more sense to like buy more hangers or get rid of shirts that I might potentially wear in the future? And I don't want to have to buy more shirts.
Yeah,
so I like that option.
don't downplay that decision. That's a stressful decision because there's always there's the funny ones that have like a memory with them. Like I had two, and these are like on the floor getting ready to go to Goodwill. 2 long sleeve tie dyes that I made in college with Dr. Jamelski. Because EJAM, which I heard he's moving on, he's doing something else now. I had a text back and forth with him not too long ago. But I had some tie-dye shirts from him from when we would do like the early bird golf outing together, and he would make our team tie-dye shirts.
Yeah.
And so I still had 2 of the long sleeves, and I was like, well, I like them. They're like really nice tie-dyes.
Yeah.
I haven't worn them in a decade probably, and they just keep taking up a hanger. And so like those got the boot. The tie-dyes got the boot.
Yeah,
but the brown on brown,
I like that.
Hey.
Whoever came up with that, creative genius.
Tone on tone, man. The tone on tone is clutch. Anyway, y'all, I got as you can tell now, I got Justin Boyd from Boyd Executive Consulting in house, and we went to college together.
We did
talking about college stuff.
Yeah.
As I was typing like the intro, Justin, I was like, I said, this was like the dude that I sat next to in accounting class. And I was like, Justin, what are they talking about? Hey, Justin, what does this mean? And then I was like, and it was this many years ago. I went, holy shit. I was like, over 20 years ago.
That's scary. Yeah. I don't even want to, it doesn't feel like it though. It feels like it was 5 years ago. Like,
yeah, it's been longer since then than how old we were at the time.
which is
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I agree. It's like when you're young and like there's just so much stuff you go through up till college. Like every 3 months, it feels like it's something new every year, And then since then, it's just like it's just like boom, and it's just like, what did I do? I feel like I accomplished nothing.
Having kids fast forward everything.
It just sucks everything out, right?
Puts it on steroids.
Yeah,
like every day is meaningful, but you're also like, I can't wait to do another one of these. Like I can't wait to try again tomorrow. I'll do it for tomorrow.
Yeah. Can I get another mulligan on what just happened? Yeah.
I have a normal framework for this show that we're not going to follow at all. Normal framework doesn't even make any sense. In general, the cadence is a little bit of this BSing, and then I have you like walk down memory lane and like catch us up to like how you got here and whatever, which I definitely want to do with you, like in your entrepreneurial journey and stuff like that. But we have so many like crossover paths. I feel like most of the episode is going to be like reminiscing and shit like that. And so whenever you got to go to bed is when we'll end it, or when one of us has to pee. I don't know. Do you have a beverage over there? Did you bring a beverage to the party?
I did. Nothing too exciting. I'm like doing no gluten, no dairy, no alcohol, sugar, all that stuff.
Right now. You're like cleansing.
Yeah, it's kind of a reset. It's by choice, but the sugar is the hardest one. But yeah, I haven't had a beer for a while, and I wasn't even doing it to lose weight, but I've lost 20 pounds in the last like 3 months, which is crazy, just tells me how overinflated I was to begin with, more than I should have been. But,
the beers will do that. The beers
so it's good. I mean, I feel good, but yeah, I have a Spindrift.
Oh, there you go.
Shout out. I don't know if they sponsor you yet, but maybe that'll get them too. Yeah.
I have found, and for a long time I didn't really like the bubbly water stuff, like the fizzy waters. Yeah. But I always take off like no alcohol from Thanksgiving, like right after Thanksgiving, basically when deer season ends in Wisconsin. Yeah. Like I'll drink beers with the fam through that Sunday whenever we're done hunting. And then until we get back together for Christmas, which is usually around like the 22nd or 23rd, somewhere in there. Yeah. So it's around a month off, like 4 weeks off of drinking. Yeah. And in there, my buddy Ben and I do all of our venison processing, which is like, it started as like a 2-day thing and then a 3-day thing. And this last year was like 3 3/4 days. And we had 15 deer that we processed together, like in total. And I have found like, man, if I'm just like busy doing stuff, I'll drink 20 LaCroix in a day, just like they're Busch Lights. Feel like I'm in college. I'll just keep like we had so many bubbly waters going on. Yeah, we were just like which flavor do you want? But I was just slamming those things all day, and it's a great like NA fizzy drink that makes you feel like you're having a drink and doing something.
Yeah, you're accomplishing something. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's a perfect substitute. Which I actually probably. There's some good NA beers out there now. Like that's come a long way over the last few years. Yeah. But I think just a fizzy water with a little fruit flavor in it is as good of a substitute. I mean, like a Busch Light ain't much to talk about. And it's just kind of the cold fizziness that is enjoyable. Like once there's any warmth to it, they're disgusting. Yeah. Right. And so it's really the cold fizziness that's enjoyable. And so a cold fizzy water is just fine. It's a good replacement.
That's right. Yeah, I do a lot. I've been trying to do more because I just hate, like, I'm just bad at drinking water in general. But now, especially living in Florida, it's like you got to drink tons of water like all the time, and I don't like it. It doesn't taste like anything. It's not exciting, so it's a good way to mix it up while still trying to
cover some ground. Yeah. Are you guys like officially residing in Florida? Are you still doing the traveling around and bouncing around, or what's the?
We are not. Yeah, we are officially here. Yeah, since last July, actually. So yeah, we're officially stagnant. We'll say we're staying put.
You have a domicile.
We have a domicile. Yep, we're like real adults again. So yeah, yeah, we're here. It's getting into the hot season, so it's gonna be our first like summer here. But it's the winters are great. The winters are fantastic. So
hell yeah. Is it like, did you pick a spot where you already had friend groups from just when you guys were bouncing around with the fifth wheel and doing that stuff? Or like, how'd you choose where you chose?
We did not. So I mean, honestly, it was definitely a God thing. We had spent the last couple winters near Orlando, which was great. We knew we kind of like Florida in general. And then we did an East Coast trip this last summer, and we still didn't know. We're like, we didn't even know what state we were going to settle in. We had some friends in South Carolina, like really like that area for a lot of different reasons, Florida as well. And
so you're saying you wrote Minnesota and Wisconsin off already? They were just out?
They were a close third, but third and fourth, yes.
Okay.
But yeah, I was going to say, ultimately, what we really want to do is we really want to like snowbird at this age already.
Yeah.
Because I love the summers in Minnesota and Wisconsin are unbelievable, and the fall. I really like the fall. I like the hunting weather. When it starts to get chill, it's like warm and sunny during the day, and it's chilly at night. But the winters get long, and it's not even just the cold. It's just like the overcast,
the daylight. Yeah, the daylight.
It's the sunshine. Yeah, the lack thereof. But so yeah, we weren't sure exactly where to go, and we being an entrepreneur and trying to get loans is not always the easiest thing. And so her uncle actually has had several different investment properties, and he had this Airbnb that they were trying to sell, and they had listed it actually already. And we kind of had said, we really want it, but can we buy it from you or have you finance it or help us out with that? And they had listed it, but then ultimately they came back and were like, we really want to, help you guys out with it. And we had separately been thinking about it. We're like, that it makes sense. So we knew nothing about the area. We're down in Cape Coral near Fort Myers. We knew nothing about the area. Didn't know anybody here, but it turns out it's like amazing. So we've met a ton of people. Yeah. Our kids have made a ton of friends right away, like gotten involved in all kinds of sports. We've met a lot of nice people. So it's a really family friendly area, and we had no idea anything about it before. And coming from Orlando, it was the opposite experience. So it's been really great so far. Yeah.
Well, Orlando's just such a zoo too. Like it's tough to even feel like it's home because it's such a freaking tourist zoo.
Yeah.
It is really surprising to hear that your kids made friends. They're not outgoing at all. I don't know how that would happen.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're very shy. Yeah.
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 It takes at least a half a second before they are talking to you and giving you a hug.
Yeah, exactly.
At least half a second.
Yeah. Yeah. Which worries me for my youngest daughter. I'm like, she'll talk to any stranger, but so we got to work on that. But it is funny because some of the adults will actually say, I can tell your kids are homeschooled because they actually look at me in the eyes when they talk to me. I was like, that's true. That's true. But yes, from traveling, they're very good at just making new friends all the time and talking to whoever and talking to adults and, being part of the conversation. So yeah,
they're just in the mix. They don't hold back. They're just going to be a part of the thing. They're all about it.
Exactly. Yeah. I remember a time in Atlanta when what was it, Kate? You guys were doing cartwheels together.
Oh yeah. Kate and I were crushing the cartwheels.
Yeah. Crushing them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, and like the rest, I mean, she knew me for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we were best friends. We were coloring pages at a restaurant together.
Yeah.
She was just like, yep, my dad knows you, and therefore we are best friends.
Here. That's all it took.
Here, hold this for me. Hey,
Yeah.
And then she started giving me orders like I was her servant. That was. I'm guessing that still holds true. I bet she still is like calling the shots. I envision Kate just still calling the shots. That's what
she does. She's pretty large and in charge. So yeah, she's a force to be reckoned with for sure. Yep. Yeah.
Our young Crosby's now. He just turned 3, and same thing. We didn't try to like parent our kids any different.
Yeah.
But they have like oldest child, middle child, youngest child tendencies, and I'm just like, we didn't do anything different. I was like very intentional about not doing anything different. I didn't want them to like have any different tendencies, but they just do. And
you can't avoid it. You can't avoid it. No,
it's impossible. It's
impossible. No, it happens. And that's why there's so many patterns. Like Brent will send me like whatever Instagram or Facebook things all the time. There's this one guy who he'll act out like a oldest, middle, and youngest sibling. I don't know if you've seen those. And I wish I remembered the name, but it's spot on. I mean, he'll do all the body language and the words and the flopping on the ground. And it's like, it's just exactly we have 3 kids and it's exactly our kids. And I'm like, I don't know how. There's obviously these universal patterns for whatever reason, but you can't avoid it. Yeah.
How old? Where are they at now? Like I don't even. I feel like they're probably all driving.
Yeah, they're in college already, earning T-shirts and beer mugs already.
Yeah.
What are they? 14, 11, and 9 now. So
okay.
Yeah.
Is Dusty like playing some competitive ball? What's he up to?
He is, yeah. So they're all very athletic, which is a lot of fun. Claire, our oldest, is just started playing volleyball last year, and she's playing like 5 days a week. She got invited to play beach volleyball, so she's took private lessons. She's doing beach volleyball now and indoor, and she just got asked to be on they're going to start playing a tournament this weekend, like 2-on-2 beach volleyball, which is crazy.
Oh, fun.
So I'm super proud of her. She tried some different sports when she was younger and, couldn't find the fit. She did a lot of dance the last couple of years, 5-6 days a week, really intense ballet and other things. Yeah. And so she became a really strong dancer. And I think that's helped her now. And she's doing volleyball and again, just working super hard at it, super coachable, which is great. Dusty, our middle one. Yeah. He's also very athletic. Pretty much anything he tries out or takes lessons for, they try to get him to join the team, like from swimming to soccer to, So he's playing basketball and baseball, and he's going to start football this summer, actual tackle football, which I'm not sure how I feel about. But yeah, his main sport's baseball. And this year especially, he's on a travel team and I think they took second in the state last year, and then nice. A rec team as well. And I'm super proud of him too. So we got him into some private pitching and hitting lessons. He's a switch hitter. He's like the only kid that switch hits.
He's amphibious. Yeah.
He's amphibious. Yep.
Yeah.
And so he's really grown in that. And it's hard when you're around a bunch of 11-year-olds that try to tear you down and like, why don't you just do this like everybody else? And so that's been the hardest battle. But yeah, he's doing that. And then him and Claire actually play on a volleyball team together too. So he got into volleyball the last couple of years. So he's playing with a bunch of high school girls playing volleyball, which is cool. And then
that's like every adolescent's dream, playing with a bunch of high school girls.
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't even know it yet. He's not to that point, but I'm like, you should be, you should be thankful, but yeah.
Relish these days, son. Relish these days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And then Kate, what's she doing? So our youngest is doing gymnastics. She's the super flexible, incredibly strong for her size, stronger pound for pound than any one of us. And can do
she's got pipes too. I remember like a couple of years ago when we were hanging by the pool, she's like making biceps. She's got this like looks like Popeye.
She's chiseled. She does crazy things like walking backwards back through her legs and just doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And then she's just crazy strong. So she's big into gymnastics. She's doing dance, and then she just did an aerial camp. It's basically Cirque du Soleil this last week. So learning how to do, in the air spins and twirls and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah.
Have you ever had her do like the American Ninja Warrior stuff?
No.
You should find a ninja gym. We got Danny and Reggie into that, and it's like professional monkey bars, right? I mean, it's just like total core workout. Throwing. I mean, and you're throwing yourself. You're like constantly and a lot of shoulder and arm strength.
Yeah.
And Danny's kind of the same way. Now, it'd be interesting to measure Danny's body fat. She's ripped.
Yeah.
Like just because it's tons of core strength, right? But it's tons of flexibility. It's tons of like shoulder and upper body strength, but a lot of balance things too. Like you're doing a bunch of balance stuff. My favorite part about it is it's really fun to watch because so many things when your little kids are in practice is you're like, here we go. We're going to dance. Gymnastics or something. I'm like, okay, I get it. Like it's nice. But when they got into ninja, I'm sitting in the crowd and they're like swinging and it's called a lache when you like throw yourself from one thing to the next thing. And I'll be in the crowd and I'm like swaying. Like I'm trying to like throw extra momentum their way. I'm like, come on.
Climb it up. Yeah.
Here you go. And so it's really, it's like fun. And I have found, especially with Reggie, like Reggie's a little gun shy, but it teaches her to take risks and fail. Like you're going to miss, right? You're going to miss 100 times before you get the 6-footer or the 8-footer or whatever it is that you're trying to like accomplish next.
Yeah.
So it like really teaches you to fail and keep trying. Yeah. And I think that's my favorite part about it is like to do the next thing, you have to suck at it for a long time and just keep going and keep learning. And so it like teaches some good and it's like, it's funny. It's like a team sport when they're younger, they go compete as a team, but it's always an individual run. It's kind of like golf. Like golf is an individual sport, but when you grow up playing it in high school, it's a team sport. Like you all have to pitch in together. And I've super enjoyed that for the kids. Like it's some good mental toughness and physical toughness, and they're like ripped because of it. They don't realize how strong they're getting as a result. Like they're constantly lifting their own body weight over and over and over and over and over.
Right. Yeah.
And then that's when the embarrassment sets in, because I'll go out there and be like, let me coach you up a little bit. Let me show you how to do this. Never mind. I think I just threw out my shoulder.
Yeah.
You try to do one thing and you're like down and out for 2 weeks. Like, oh, that was a mistake. But you see what I was trying to do?
Can you bring Daddy an ice pack, please? Yeah.
It's funny, but it's true. I've done it like 3 times where I've been like, let me just here. Like, no, it's like this. And then I'll try to do it. And I'll be like, oh my God, like my back, my shoulder, my
so much harder than it looks. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool though. Like how young do they start that at? Like how
5 years old?
Is it really?
Like 4 or 5. They can't do much, but now Danny's 9 and she's like, I mean, it's a little tricky because you'll have like local competitions. But then they push to national competitions pretty quick. So it's like we've never done one of the national ones, but we could, and Danny's good enough to go compete nationally, but it's like 9, right? Like at what age are you like, here we go, we're flying around the country, let's go spend $10,000 to go compete in LA at a competition. It's like I played tons of sports growing up, and so I enjoy their competitiveness, but I don't know how early. Marty played college volleyball, and like her whole high school was going to volleyball tournaments around the country. Yeah. And like at that age, I kind of get it. Yep. At 9 years old, I'm kind of like, nah. Like I think I texted you like, we have soccer tonight, but we ditched it and we're just gonna hang out as a family and play in the pool. Yeah. Like even soccer at 9 years old. Yeah. They got tournaments, they got practices like 4 nights a week. I was like, I think I had practice once a week. Yeah. Or maybe all we did was play games. I don't even remember if we had practice. Yeah. I think we just played like a game a week all summer long. Yeah. And so I'm like, I don't know how serious we need to take it. We're not going to make a career out of professional ninjaing. Right. I mean, a few people do, or maybe you become a gym owner or something like that. Right. Whatever. Right. You really love it. But I have a hard time spending tens of thousands of dollars to travel around the country for that. And like you're probably getting into it with Dusty and baseball. Like baseball, baseball becomes a crazy commitment. It's like my nephews are big into it, and we never get to see them anymore. They always have like every weekend is like a tournament in Iowa, Missouri, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Like they're all over the place. And I was like, geez, man, I hope you're going pro. Like you're spending a lot of time to just go play some baseball with your buddies. Yeah. Yeah. We're fortunate. Like it's most of the travel tournaments are super expensive. Like we're talking, $5,000 just to play. And they travel all over. Ours, luckily, there's some local coaches here who mainly wanted to make the rec team better. So they kind of took the rec team all-stars and created a travel team. And they all coach. They just donate all their time. So you don't have to pay to play at all. And the furthest we go is like an hour and a half. So we're staying pretty local, which is a huge benefit because I agree. I think it's gotten younger where they're, like you said, high school is different, but it's gotten to the point where they're doing that for a lot younger kids as far as spending time and money and traveling. Yeah. And also it's the multi-sports. It's like you were talking about when we were growing up, you could play 2 or 3 sports and it was all fine and it would all work out. But now there's so much commitment required from each individual sport. Like this is the only one you're playing. So it's hard to be a multi-sport person and experience all those things and not take it as seriously as they all want you to at a young age. So it is really intense and it's kind of sad, but like you said, at this age, you can just do as much as you want and let them experience it and not feel bad that you're going to miss some practices and some games every once in a while. And that's kind of how we are too. It's like, we'd rather have them experience different things. And you can't physically make with 3 kids in like 2 or 3 things that are 2 or 3 days a week. You can't make everything all the time. So we're like, we'll do our best. I don't remember which professor it was that we had where we learned the theory of sunk costs, but I've really embraced that one because it is like I paid $900 for Danny to be in this soccer.
Yep.
For like, it's a kind of like late winter through spring into summer program.
Yeah.
Man, it's like $1,000. And then, I mean, again, she's like 9 and she's playing in tournaments and stuff. And you got to have a practice jersey and then this color jersey and this color jersey and these color socks. I'm like, I didn't have this nice a gear when I was playing high school football.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, what are we doing here for these 9-year-olds? They're going to outgrow this stuff in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing with this stuff? It's just like a money making ego thing. I don't know who's winning from this, but it's not the parents. I know that.
No.
But I have learned to just be like, we're paying this, and it's a sunk. The minute I hit submit and put that credit card in, it's a sunk cost, and I don't care if we go to it or not. The money's already been spent.
Yep.
I understand what sunk costs are and what opportunity costs are. The opportunity cost tonight it's more expensive right now to go to soccer practice than to just go swim in the pool with the fam.
Yep,
and,
exactly.
You made the right call.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's all the gear too. Baseball's gotten crazy. They have these bats are $400 or $500 bats for these the new ones that hit the furthest. And then you got these, they're called Bruce Bolt hitting gloves that are $110.
Jesus.
And then they all
whatever happened to Franklin.
Yeah,
Franklin,
I know. I was like, I don't understand. Yeah,
you get them at Walmart. You get the Franklins at Walmart.
And then they got the elbow guards, and they all have a lot of them have the sleeves, and then the sliding mitt, the oven mitt, is the new thing. And again, I personally, I was a baseball player, and I'm more of a what do you call it, a purist, where it's like you don't need all that gear. Yeah. And they give it free. They give it
back
free.
When I was your age.
Back when I was, before my back hurt from doing the ninja stuff. Yeah. It was just, we never broke any fingers or had any issues, but it's just so funny that they give it. So I learned, because we have a friend of ours who plays AA for the Phillies, but he's like, they give all the gear for free to these guys just so they'll wear it on TV. And and he's like, I feel terrible because all of the kids are paying for all of this gear because they're marketing it.
Yeah, it's young families with kids who aren't going to have pro athletes that are actually paying for all of us all this free shit.
Right. So now you got, besides the bat and the cleats and the helmet that you normally had, you got $500 of other gear that apparently you need now when you're 8 years old to be able to play baseball.
When did the oven mitts come out? I just assumed everybody was like cooking brats down in the dugout. When did these oven mitts start becoming a thing for like running bases?
Yeah. I don't know. It was probably 5 years ago, but it was just we refused to buy Dusty one, and I was like, you're gonna get like $40 batting gloves, and we're not buying the oven mitt, and you'll be fine. And
guess what? Your team needs one, maybe 2 oven mitts. There's only like 2 guys on bases that would steal a base.
Yeah, exactly.
At any given time, your team needs 2 oven mitts.
You don't need it. Yeah, and I know one of the dads and I were joking. I was like, remember when bats used to be just the plain metal? It was I want to say silver, but it was like a very rough.
The classic Easton.
The Easton or the Louisville, and it was almost like a fiberglass texture. It was like rough metal, and it was just straight. And then the grip was just a flat rubber piece. There was no comfort to it. It was just
super thin little
rubber strip. And I was like, it was basically a metal rod. It had no
metal rod with a condom on the end of it.
Yeah, I was like, that's what we played with. I was like, you could get a metal shard by rubbing it the wrong way. You know what I mean? And it's like, that was our bat. We got it probably for $10 at a garage sale. And I was like, that's what we use.
They were great. We're
selling
plenty of hits. Hit plenty of hits with those.
Yeah.
What we're going to talk about business in a second, but what the heck? What's Bryn up to? What's she got going on these days?
So she's just the glue that holds everything together. So when we left Minnesota in 2020, she started homeschooling the kids. So she's still doing that. Homeschooling. She's playing unpaid Uber driver all the days, bringing everybody everywhere.
Yeah.
She helps me with my business sometimes, which is great. And she just does everything that needs to be done. She still does all the cooking and just figuring out what we're going to do for vacation. And when we were on the road, she was planning all the stops and all the trips, and she does all the friend stuff with the kids and the adults and us. Like, hey, we're gonna hang out with these people then, and we're gonna figure this out, and we're gonna do that, and let's sign up for this, and let's go here and plan these trips. So she's she loves to stay busy, but yeah, she's basically the glue that does everything to keep us running. So yeah,
there you go. She's in charge.
Yeah, a lot of thankless jobs, but she's amazing at it. So yeah.
For the listeners that don't know, Bryn and I worked together for 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, something like that.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And I don't like to say Bryn was my admin because it sounds like she was there to support me. She was there to like keep me straight and make sure I was doing my job. Bryn was my boss. Bryn was there to make sure I was doing my job.
Yes.
But Bryn and I worked together for a few years, and it was hilarious because neither one of us are really integrators. We're both very much visionaries. Bryn's more of an integrator. Like, she can also organize the thing and make sure all the things happen, but we're both like super idea people.
Very visionary. Yeah.
And it's like we would spend like 30 minutes on a 45-minute call just coming up with more ideas instead of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But holy smokes, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah. So many good ideas. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
But I mean, in a funny way, like a lot of the things that we did at Blue Skies, when we like did something different, it was Bryn pushing like a boundary and just coming out of left field with an idea because she didn't think like a nerdy ass accountant like the rest of us. She thought like a creative person and would just come out of left field. And every once in a while you'd be like, that just doesn't make any sense. And every once in a while you'd be like, holy shit, like why weren't we doing this forever? Like, it makes so much common sense, but the rest of us are just too damn nerdy to even like see outside of our accounting nerd box.
Exactly. Yeah. She likes to come in and step on the box and smash it to pieces and be like, you know what? We don't even need a box. Why don't we have a balloon or something? Not even anything, right? Like,
yeah, boxes aren't made to float.
Yeah, we don't need any constraints. Yeah, what is this? So yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah, she isn't like, she just comes in and smashes it.
Yeah.
She like doesn't hold back. She just comes in. That's where Kate gets it from. That explains where your youngest gets it from.
It is.
Kate just comes in like a bull in a china shop.
She's just like her, and it's honestly like super triggering to Bryn now because Kate just leaves her room messy. She's super creative, loves it, but then it's always too hard to finish. You know, she doesn't want to finish. She wants to create and whatever, get all this art stuff out, the Play-Doh, the earrings, and then she never wants to clean up. And Bryn's just like, oh my gosh, she's just like me, and it drives me nuts. And then my oldest is like me. She's like very rational, analytical, overthinks things, and then it drives me nuts. I'm like, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine.
I don't know how to tell you, but I've learned this lesson before.
Yes, I don't want you to be like me. Yeah. I want to save you from all of that. Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny when you can like step outside of yourself for a second and realize the thing that you yell at your kids the most for is the thing that you also did.
Yep. For sure.
That's just me in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I do that all the time.
Yep.
Like, quit dicking around over there. Quit like antagonizing that person. And then I'm like, God dang, now I understand why I annoyed the shit out of so many people when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, that was me. Like, you had to tell me stop it 5 times before I would stop it.
Yeah.
I couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Holy shit, I was annoying.
Yeah. I would have loved to see a young Dan Plata, see it, hang out with them. Yeah.
Maybe for like 5 minutes.
For like 5 minutes, and I've been like, okay, is there anybody else here? Yeah.
Yeah, can I go duck hunting with somebody else now? Dan's told me the same joke 4 times. Like, this is getting really old.
Yeah.
So let's get to some business stuff.
Sure.
Before we get into Boyd Executive Consulting, get us we reminisced on the kid stuff. We reminisced a little bit about college stuff. If you want to take it back that far, you sure as heck can. But kind of take us through like your professional journey, because you and I both kind of have this fiber in us where I think we were raised like you're supposed to go to college and then you're supposed to go get a job and you're supposed to stay there forever, and whether you like it or not, it's secure, and then someday you can retire and have fun after that. Yep. Like, that's kind of like the vibe our parents gave us. And we both departed from that, right? Like, but I think we're both pretty risk averse dudes, which is like, that's a hard departure. That's a hard, like, pragmatic decision to be like, here I go. I'm leaving this thing where I make good money and it's cushy, but I know it sucks.
Yeah.
But like, does it suck so bad? I got to like take this chance. So I'm curious, like catch us up on your journey of that, like from post-college through some of your trials and tribulations, and we'll get into it, get into the journey.
Yeah, 100%. So I totally agree with that. And that's exactly how I was raised. It was like my grandpa worked at the same company for 35, 40 years. My dad did the same thing, retired from the same company that my grandpa worked at after 38 years.
Oh man, did you even go work there? Or did you just totally buck that trend?
I didn't. I was like, you know what? Not even gonna interview. I don't even want
Bill. What about Bill? Did Bill go work there? Did any of your generation go work there?
I was surprised that he didn't, but he's no. It was 3M, and no, he didn't go, but he did get an internship in college, and up until, unfortunately, he lost his job last year and got a new one, but up until then he worked at the same company. And it was
the old Cargill.
Yep, Cargill, and was very much, kind of along that same thread. And I definitely was raised that way, and so I've have this, risk averse mentality, and don't be smart about it. Be take what's safe. Take the play to not lose as opposed to playing to win. And because it was very much, if you take a risk and you fail, it was, well, probably shouldn't have taken that risk, or probably should have just done this instead. And if you succeeded, it was like, okay, I'm not going to give you much attention for that, basically.
Well, that was risky and stupid. You just got lucky.
Yeah, you got lucky. So, but you probably shouldn't do that again. So that was kind of the, even if it wasn't said all the time, that was the underlying mentality and treatment. But so I wanted to go to school to play baseball, and I was thinking about being a pilot as well, because I really enjoyed flying. And I had an opportunity to play baseball, but in juniors in Texas, for a juniors team, but I went the safe route. I also got into a couple different colleges, and I went to Eau Claire because that's where my brother went. It was close to home. It was still a great school. Nothing against that, but it was kind of like the safe choice. Yeah. So
cost effective. It's cost effective education.
It is cost effective. It definitely, no issues with where it got me. And that's a whole different deal. But so yeah, got a 4-year degree.
Good classmates, really good classmates.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, great taupe on taupe t-shirts if you win intramural sports. So yeah, just quality all around.
They call this the latte. They call this the latte. Mocha, maybe.
Yeah,
mocha and latte.
Yeah.
Classy.
So I, did that, and then did an internship doing personal financial planning and insurance and things like that, which was unique. And again, it was kind of uncomfortable for my parents, because it was like, what is this? You're doing sales, and that's kind of different.
That in
and of itself. Yeah.
That one deterred me, because I looked at that after I had heard you did that, and I had an interview with Northwestern Mutual, and I was like, man, this feels risky.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised you went for that. It felt risky to us conservative dudes.
Yeah, it was very, more than, didn't have a lot of financial risk, because you're not married, you don't have a mortgage yet, but it was very challenging from a personal comfort perspective, the things that you needed to do, and calling random people and talking about stuff that you didn't really know much about yet. And just, being in charge of your own destiny that early was definitely challenging. But
hey, I want to, I missed a chance to ask you about something that I didn't know about you before.
Yeah.
Like, I knew you played baseball growing up, but I didn't know you had a chance to go play like juniors at that competitive level. When you look back at that, is there like a what if or a regret, or are you just like, yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't do it because I don't regret the journey I went on? Or like, how do you view that? I mean, that's like a big fork in the road.
Yeah.
Because you can't, it's not like right now, I feel like we have a fork in the road where, hey, we have these small businesses. We could go back to the corporate world tomorrow and go back to that life. So it's like a fork in the road that we chose, but we didn't give up the other fork. Whereas that level of like competitive baseball, like once you bypass it, you kind of give it up to some extent.
Yeah. I would say both. I mean, I do. It still twinges at me sometimes, especially when I'm, I still want to play. I still like playing as an adult. And I know I could have done some cool, fun things and at least enjoyed it for another couple years, before hanging it up. I sort of thought I had to either start, I would be behind if I went and did that. I'd be behind if I wanted to do school later. I'd be behind in my career because I chose to play baseball for a couple years. So I kind of, it was one of those things again where my coach didn't really necessarily market me super well, and my parents, weren't super like, hey, we're gonna get you out there and we're gonna do videos and contact schools and do all this recruiting stuff. So which silently kind of told me like, okay, no one really believes in me. But it was, I had a great high school career. I led the conference my junior and senior year in home runs, doubles, RBIs, and slugging percentage. And ended up making the high school all-star game as a senior, the all-star team. And so I actually made that. There was basically 2 teams in all of Wisconsin that made that, got to go play at Miller Park, the Brewers Stadium.
Yeah.
And it was before that game. So between when school ended and that game, I was playing like a men's league, like a wood bat league, to stay sharp and just stay on track. And this was sort of after I had decided there was some opportunities. Some people wanted to see me hit, and they're like, hey, we can get you in this juniors team. And a lot of people go pro from there and whatever. But again, it was kind of like crickets. And so I told myself, well, I'm probably not good enough to go pro. So, why waste a couple years of time? Like, let's just go to school and again, play the safe route and just make sure I got something, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of already decided. But in the meantime, I had the opportunity to play in this game, and I was playing and ended up breaking my hand in that game. So I unfortunately was not able to play in the All-Star game at Miller Park. I got to dress up and sit in the dugout and watch everybody else. But it was a lot of great players. A lot of them went D1. And so it was a really cool experience, but I didn't get to play in that game. I healed, and then I ended up playing at Eau Claire for a little while. And then a buddy of mine and me went over to, back when the Twins had open tryouts, we drove over to the Metrodome and we did an open tryout, and was fortunate enough to make a call back there. It was probably 250 people there, and they called 40 people back to play a 9-inning game. And I was one of them, which was really cool.
That's kind of fun. Just to like have the experience.
Just the experience was really cool. So that was after I'd broken my hand once, and then I ended up breaking it a second time. So,
like, what did you get hit with a pitch, or what? What do you mean? Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, I was playing first base the first time, and I took a bad throw toward home plate, so off to my left, and just big dude just barreled into me, and his knee hit me right on the top of the hand, and it split the bone right in half. And it was my first finger, and so it drives everything. You know what I mean? All your strength. And they put 2 pins in there, let it heal, pulled the pins back out. So now it's just the bone left, and then it broke in the exact same spot. So now I got a plate in there with 6 screws. So then again, I was kind of like seeing everything negatively, but this is a sign that I shouldn't be playing baseball anymore, and it's time to hang it up and all this stuff. Even though I was like, I also after that missed out on probably a lot of opportunities just to play adult. I did play some fast pitch softball and some slow pitch softball and stuff, but there's adult baseball, and I kind of just got away from it. It was kind of like too painful because I was just like, I wish I would have played more competitively, and now I'm just kind of quitting before I need to, so. So that's
once you have kids, it's so hard to stay. I mean, I played a lot of football post college, a lot of basketball post college.
Yeah. Since
I've had kids, I haven't played in a decade. That was every night of the week. I had a league sport of something. I played some kickball. I played some softball. I played hence the shirt. I played all the intramurals. Like, I love playing sports and being competitive, but now I drive other humans to them.
Yes, exactly.
And I yell at them, and then I yell at the other ones next to me to stop dicking around and do whatever they're doing. I'm just that dad. I'm just yelling at everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm good at it. I'm so good at yelling. Loud, authoritative, a little scary.
Yep.
Bring it.
That's right. You got to be.
Professional.
Yeah. But so that was the road not chosen. And I would say the other half of that is I'm I wouldn't have met Bryn and had our amazing kids, and that whole deal. If I didn't go to, I wouldn't have met Dan if I didn't go to Eau Claire. So
it worked out all right.
It worked out great. Yep. So I can't say that I would have had it any other way, because I'm very happy with the way everything turned out. So yeah.
I do, and we're gonna get to this. I'm gonna preface it, and then I'm gonna have you pick back up at Northwestern Mutual where you're doing the financial intern thing. Look at that! I even remembered where our conversation was.
I know, it was crazy.
Such good hosting. Wow. You were talking about Bill, your older brother, earlier, and how like he had been at Cargill, and it sounds like they let him go. And Marty and I have had this conversation a few times. Like, she's at 3M. And she's still our breadwinner. Like, she does really well. She's got a badass job.
Yeah.
And there's in my parents, I think now that they've seen the success that I've had, they're hilariously on board. But for the longest time, they're like, this is so stupid. Why would you leave? You have everything. You make really good money. You have all these benefits. You get all these experiences.
Yep.
And they're not wrong to some extent. Like, Cargill was great when I worked there. I got to fly around the planet. I got tons of cool experiences. I got paid really well. But it's not secure. And everybody has this false sense of security. But I watched it happen 2 or 3 times while I was there, where they did these riffs. And this was like a big catalyst to me leaving, as they would. And it's like a total HR play, because you can't just fire people because you're going to get sued for discrimination. Even though you have a bunch of people, like, they're big corporations, they let all these people that suck stick around forever and ever and ever, and they pass them back and forth. Nobody's willing to fire them. They pass shitty people from business to business. It's fucking hilarious. It sucks because if you're good, you end up doing all of their work too, and a lot of times they make more money than you, and that's really demeaning and really frustrating. That was a big reason why I left the corporate world. I was still making good money, but I was doing the job of like 2 other people too that were making more money than me.
Yeah.
They were just older. They had just been there longer, but they sucked.
Yep.
And it was like, God, this is just awful.
Yeah.
And I just can't. And like, who's at the end of the day, who's winning? I couldn't get over the fact, even if I was making good money, I didn't like making somebody else more money. It was like this weird, like, it's like, to me, it's not about money. It's about like pride in doing stuff you love.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if there's value to be added, I don't want to just give it away.
Right.
I don't want to do it for a bunch of other people. Like, I want to do it for myself and for my friends, and for the people that I care about.
Yep.
And it was so frustrating to watch. They would do these riffs, the reduction in forces, and they would hire a consultant, and the consultant would come in and fire a bunch of people because then they couldn't get sued for HR violations. But the consultants would pick roles instead of people. And they would get rid of some of the best people and leave some of the worst. And it was like, oh my God, like, can't you just like pass them an anonymous note and tell them who sucks? Like, why is it that we get rid of really high performing people and we keep really shitty people?
Right.
It's like, we're just looking at roles and how much money they make. And it's happened. I mean, Marty's been at 3M for 9 years.
Yeah.
8-9 years. And I think it's happened 3 times since she's been there.
Yeah.
She just hasn't been she hasn't been high enough middle management where she's the one that got cut.
Yeah.
Right. Like, at some point you're just high enough middle management and they're going to do one of those because it's all about making money.
Yeah.
And how much money are we making these shareholders that have nothing to do with any of this?
Yeah.
And therefore you have to lose your job. And in a funny way, like, being a small business owner, even it's risky. Right.
Yep.
And there's ups and downs, and like, you have to go kill shit every day, but at least it's yours.
Yeah.
Right. And like, that was a hard lesson for me to learn, because growing up, just like we talked about earlier, like, I was always taught to do the safe thing, do the pragmatic thing, do the non-risky thing.
Yeah.
It took me 8 years in the corporate world to realize, like, oh shit, this is actually riskier. Like, I get paid, but like, I'm not in control here. And the higher I get up, the more likely it is I get let go. Like, I'm a ticking time bomb, and I get taken care of well, but I'm so disposable. Yeah. Right. And frankly, like, if you're listening to this, y'all know me. I'm not corporate. Like, it's just, I can do well. Like, I like working hard and providing results.
Yeah.
But I like F-bombing and drinking beer. And so it's like, and like, not that there's not those people in the corporate world that like to have a good time too, but there's so many people looking to make an example of you and stab you whenever they get the chance. Right. And I had leaders of mine do it. I had I had people in different roles in the organization like come at me in weird ways because I negatively impacted their bonus by doing the right thing. And I was just like, man, like F you and your money. I don't care about your money. Yeah. Like if that's what you're really worried about instead of doing a good job, then I'm out. Yeah. I don't care about your money. I care about like working hard and doing a good job for people. Money. Money. There's enough money. We got enough money. Yeah. Do a good job. So anyway. Yep. I'm off my high horse. Carry on.
Yeah.
Carry on.
No, that's carry on. Yeah. I agree. I mean, I think the big point of that is it's not necessarily safer at all because it is totally out of your control and they make decisions for all different reasons that they can convince you that it's the right thing or convince whoever that it's the right thing. And I totally agree. It's one of those things where, you know, unfortunately my brother had to go through it, but you can see how it's like, you know, you think you're safe, you think you're doing the right thing and that happens. And he's, you know, he did really great too, you know, and they actually just said, hey, we're not going to have this entire support, you know, area of Cargill. We're not going to have it in Minneapolis anymore. So, and we're going to like completely just redo the way we're doing everything. And so some of this is going overseas and some of it's going here, but it's the same thing I dealt with one of my jobs where it's like, we're just closing down the entire thing. So everybody's out of a job, you know,
peace out.
Yeah. So have fun with that. Right. So,
you said he was there for 15 years.
He was there for, gosh,
I mean, it must have been damn near 20.
No, it must have been more than that. Cause he started as an intern probably when he was 19 or 20. So it's probably 23 years, something like that. 24 years.
Bonkers.
22 years. Yeah. Something like that.
Just when he finally got like the max amount of vacation you're going to get.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. And so it's, you know, and again, it had nothing to do with him at all. You know, he was great and he was smart, super hard worker. He's a good corporate soldier. I got tired of that, but he's like the guy that you'd want if you had a corporation and you wanted a good corporate guy. He's your guy, but
you do it. You do that.
So, but yeah, Northwestern Mutual did that, started being asked to, you know, sell things and, you know, to get your own numbers up again, care about your own money, but it was unethical in my opinion, you know, trying to get people to invest and buy insurance that they didn't really need just so you can make money and hit your numbers. So that's what led me to be out of that situation. Went to work for Northwestern Mutual, for Wells Fargo Financial. It was only about 9 months into that. And then they said, hey, we're closing down Wells Fargo Financial nationwide. So we got on a call with everybody.
That's a different riff. That's a different
riff. Like that's more of a, what do they call that? A Moab, mother of all bombs or whatever. Yeah. That was like, okay, you're all gone. They got on the phone with people from, I don't know, it was like 4 different states and hey, we're closing down. You're all out of a job. Select people were offered to go work at a bank to be like a personal banker opening checking account.
A teller giving out suckers.
And I was like,
give out suckers.
Yeah, which reminds me of it's random tangent. I like to watch The Office, but Michael Scott went to New York and he was like partying and he's like, I just told that girl I was a teller at a bank because I was told, you know, when they ask you what you do, they say that you're in finance. So I had told her I was a teller at a bank. And she's like, nice talking to you. I'm going to go somewhere else. It's like, I'm in finance. I'm a teller. Yeah. But I was like, I didn't go to school for this. So I don't want that option. That's when I went to work for IBM. Unfortunately, Bryn was 7 months pregnant at the time when I got laid off. So that was pretty stressful. The housing market was terrible. We had just bought a house at the worst time. So the housing values were down. So we were renting out our house to try to just keep it for a little while longer. I still remember Bryn going into labor, like on our couch when people were coming over and I was showing him the house to try to rent it out. I was like, sorry, hon, but we're trying to get this taken care of.
Yeah. You're going to have to go in the other room and have that baby.
Yeah. That contraction over there. So yeah, we had a baby. We moved 2 weeks later to Rochester, started my job 3 days after that. And we're renting to some people that ended up trashing our house and we had to take them to court. So it it was a stressful, it was a stressful time in our life where I basically had to start over. I started at the minimum salary with a bunch of people that were fresh out of college. And I was like, okay, this is what it has to be. So the good news was I had some real world experience and I actually knew how to work. And so I quickly surpassed them. I think I got 3 promotions in the first year and a half that I was there. So that was great. And then it was a similar thing where it's, they treated me really well, similar to you. A lot of cool experiences. I learned a lot of stuff. I did not get to Globetrot. I wish I would have, but that would have been fun.
I mean, it's fun for like the first time you do it. And then after that, it's like, oh shit, I got to go to China again.
Yeah.
During hunting season, right? Like, get out of here. Like, it's the rut, you assholes. I'm not going to China during the rut. Don't you know what the rut is? Come on.
They're like,
bucks are running. The ducks are flying.
Yep. Come on. But so I did that for 11 years. It was great. But it was the same kind of thing where you felt underutilized. You're like, I did all the work. I came up with all these good recommendations, and then there's 17 executives there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and
just playing politics over your project.
Yeah, and then they can't make a decision.
Or you're not going to do it. We're like, whose bonus rides on this?
Right. So it's all just that, and then you're like, okay. And I remember a good example of I took this one new job. It was the last year I was there, and I was like, this cloud pricing. It was basically like pay by the hour for using whatever. And I looked at the public facing prices were incorrect for what we were selling. I was like, these prices are not correct, and everybody can see this. And it took them, I think, the full year that I was there to get it fixed. And it was like, okay, we got to set up a meeting with this team, and then they're really backlogged, but then we got to look at this code, and then this team has to be involved, and then let's talk about it. And I was like, if Amazon found out that their pricing was incorrect, they'd have it fixed within 10 minutes. Like, you can guarantee that. And it took us a year because of all of the red tape. And that's one of those things. I'm just, what are we doing here?
Like, how is this decision the hard one to make? There's like 8 buttons we need to click. Why? How many meetings are we going to have about this thing? That's so obvious. Like, we don't even need to debate. I have a couple of these I want to reminisce on for a second, but it's one of those things where it's like, we don't even need to debate what the right answer is. Right. Now we're debating how to execute it, which at this level, we don't even need to debate. Like, it's 8 button clicks. And we just need to debate when to do it. Like, we already know the right answer. We already know how to implement it. And we're going to take a year to decide when to do it, because we're going to ask a bunch of useless questions first. And make sure we play with everybody's nuts a couple times before they get too worried about their bonus. I had it was interesting. I still have a lot of contacts in cargo where I worked, and like still stay in touch with them. But in my last 2 years, when I knew I was leaving and going with Dalkey to do the Blue Skies thing, I had applied for and gotten a strategy and business development role. So I went from doing commodity trading and risk management hedging strategies to mergers and acquisitions and new production lines and plant expansions and shutdowns. And so, I mean, in that 2 years, it took 2 years to do a thing that was very obvious, which is we had like a plant in Canada just to serve McDonald's Canada, basically. And we lost money hand over fist. It just wasn't big enough. And we couldn't, like, it was funny. It was like McDonald's wanted us to be exclusive to them, but because we couldn't sell a bunch of other people, we just had to lose money. It was like, we might as well shut down. And they're like, well, if we don't serve McDonald's Canada, what if we lose McDonald's US business? It was like, McDonald's US doesn't care about Canada just the way US doesn't care about Canada. Right? Like, they're our hat. And like, no offense to anybody in Canada. They're our hat. McDonald's US is, at the time, it was like 13 or 14,000 stores. Canada was like 500, right? Like, McDonald's US doesn't give a shit what the hell we're doing in Canada, right? Yeah, we like to help McDonald's Canada, but if like Canada is a socialistic, like, especially in food things, it's so governmentally run, there's no money to be made. There's these like quotas and shit. So we're losing money hand over fist, all to try to like appease a thing that was like an argument that was in our heads from like one of our executives who was like passionate about the fact that like we had to lose this money. Like it was some sort of loss leader.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, would you want to go work at a plant where you know you're a waste of time and energy?
Yeah.
Like, how do you think our employees up there feel?
Yeah.
And he's like, we got to keep them employed. I'm like, no, we don't. How miserable is their job?
Yeah.
They know they suck, right?
Yeah.
Like we have good people there, but they know they're just losing money. You can be the best person in the world, but if you show up to a job every day and you know it's worthless, I don't care how good you are at it. How long are you going to stay motivated to keep doing that job?
Yeah.
The only motivation you have is to get transferred, is to do a good enough job to hopefully get transferred somewhere else.
Yep.
Right? Like we're not doing them a favor. We're fucking holding them hostage.
Yeah.
Right? Like we need to shut that plant down, right? And let McDonald's Canada figure it out, or we need to figure out how to send stuff from the US to Canada or partner with somebody in Canada, right? But we have no business running a factory in Canada. We suck at it. We ended up selling it to a contractor that we worked with already. Like it made way more sense for them to own it.
Yeah.
Like this conversation was happening for like the 6 years I was involved in this business. And I only did this job for 2 years, but it had been happening for the 4 years prior to that. And I was kind of always on the side of like, I don't know the story, but I don't know why we would, from a pure investment standpoint, I don't know why we'd hold on to something that's losing money or not even try to fix it. Like we didn't even try to fix it.
Yeah.
And so I got in there and I like went hard at that. And it took 2 years for me to get that through. And finally we got a president that was like on board with that and pushed it through. And it was the best. It just made so much sense, but it took forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And another like same thing. We needed more capacity. And so that was my job, was to like look at all of our plants, figure out where we could add lines and how many, $20 to $100 million, like whatever the project was going to be, what we need to add, or look at greenfield operations. Like if we could just go somewhere and build a new plant, like how many hundreds of millions is it going to cost? How long is it going to take? Blah, blah, blah. And do the MPV, IRR, like do the whole financial analysis on it. So I did that and I presented it and I was like, I don't think you guys are going to love this, but we got this plant over here that's not doing jack shit. Same thing. It's kind of losing us money, but it's right down the street. We can share resources. And if we can get access to this land over here, that over there, here's what it could be, right? Like right now, the little shitty stuff we're doing over there can't make us any money. But if we can add, like the fixed overhead doesn't need to change, right? If we can just increase the output over there, all of a sudden that plant becomes nice and profitable. And so I presented this in like my last few months there.
Yeah.
And 3 years later, Norm, who was my manager at the time and now runs that business, texted me to be like, hey, just thought you'd find it funny. We finally implemented your deck from 3.5 years ago. We now expanded that facility. I'm like, oh, wow. It only took you 3.5 years.
It took me 3.5 years. And
he was laughing. He's like, yeah, we pretty much just ran that play. Like we took your old deck and we did exactly what you said. I was like, yeah, man, it's just like,
yeah.
And he was always on my side. He's just like, dude, the politics, man.
No.
Like the math is so straightforward once we work it all out.
Yeah.
But you just have all these agendas to appease.
Yeah.
And that was such a big catalyst for me, like exiting I just hate appeasing other people's agendas. I just, it's just not about the money. I just can't fight somebody else's fight when I'm like, no, I know the right answer.
Yeah.
And I can show you the right answer so many different ways, but you keep coming up with stupid questions to keep asking.
Right.
And I just like my next recourse is I'm just going to punch you in the face. I don't know what else. I just don't know what else to do. Like you can only argue against stupidity so much.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I kept running into that in the corporate world. It was so frustrating.
Right. And all the people in the middle that just want to take up that time because they just want to keep collecting their paycheck and kick the can down the road.
Well, they get paid a lot of money to take up some time.
Yeah, just take up some time. And that's the other thing that drove me nuts about peers. It was all the politics with peers too. And how many of them, you're all on the phone with your boss and like, oh, I was working on this till 3 a.m. and I'm just working so hard and just doing all this stuff. And, and just trying to like their stripes. Like that was Yeah, like I get all this credit for just activity and not results. You know what I mean? I'm just working so hard and just so
weird that you work till 3 a.m. and like it still sucks.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm like, what did you do? Like, what got done? You know,
that's a bummer. You're so inefficient that it took you till 3 a.m. to produce such a shitty result.
Yeah, so it was one of those things where people got ahead because they constantly brought attention to themselves and fibbed here and there, and it's exhausting. But yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah. But that's funny. Did they send you like a bonus check or something for implementing your plan? Were they like, or even a note to just say, "Thank you, Dan. This was a great idea."
No. But Norm's text was like, and Norm always said, "No, truthfully, if Best Damn Bookkeeping like didn't work out, and I was like, man, this entrepreneurial journey sucks. I'm just not going to do it again. Yeah, I would call Norm tomorrow. He was the best leader I ever had. He had the perfect balance, and I like actually take a lot of stuff from him because I also he was my leader, my manager when I was doing the risk management stuff there and trading commodities. When I got the next job to do the business development stuff, I intentionally picked probably the worst manager I've ever had and ever will have. Mm-hmm. French dude, really nice dude, but micromanaged like crazy. Yeah. Didn't understand how to make money, just understood financial analysis and how to play the politics. And now like he thought he was doing the right thing. I will not play politics. And all my peers loved it, but like, and you know me well enough, I would walk into a room with the presidents of all the businesses and tell them just to F off. Like, I was like, what are you gonna do? Fire me because I'm telling you what to do? Yeah. I just wouldn't play the game. Right. Yeah. And he was like, no, we got to position it this way. I was like, I'm just going to tell them what's up. Mm-hmm. And they can like it or not like it. Mm-hmm. But I don't care about how they feel about it. He was like, so touchy feely. And he's like, but you got to be like, you got to understand where they're coming from. I'm like, no, they need to understand where I'm coming from. Yeah. Like they hired me to do this job and I'm going to tell them what they need to do. And then it's on them. Right. Yeah. Like, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to try to like play to this guy's politics and that guy's politics. Yeah. I don't enjoy that. I'm not doing it. And you're not getting that out of me. Yeah. But I'm at fast track us to the right answer. And I'm going to like bust some knuckles doing it. Right. And I'm fine with that. Like that's how I'm going about it. Like, and that's what I believe in. Mm-hmm. I don't play this corporate bullshit. We got shit to do. I want to work hard and get shit done. I don't want to work hard and then spend 8 months debating it. Yeah. So like get out of my way. We're doing it. Yeah. and it sucked working for him because he was the exact opposite. Is that right? Like he wanted to talk about everybody's emotions about every situation. And I was just like, no, when we have the right answer, we got to go. Yeah. Like we don't need to worry about people's emotions. That's their job. That's not my job. Like I got to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was funny playing that game, but yeah. Norm eventually became the president of that business, and he was the one that texted me to say like, hey, just wanted to let you know, like we recycled your deck and went through and we're going to do that. Yeah. It's in process. And I still like golf with him every once in a while and keep tabs on him. He's such a good dude. That's so fun. Yeah. But true story. One year when I was working directly for him, and you probably had this at IBM, we had your annual like employee review. Yeah. And in 1 year he gave me the exceeds expectations. Okay. Which like you don't get the exceeds, like it's like didn't meet expectations, meets expectations, or exceeds expectations, right? And every year is a meets expectations. And there was 1 year he gave me the exceeds. Yeah. And I don't remember if it was before or after this, but I think it was he gave me that. And then the next year he gave me a meets expectations. And I was like, Norm, what the hell? Like, yeah. Last year I did these things and you gave me an exceeds. This year, like, look at the shit that I rolled out. Right. And he's like, yeah. And that is my expectation of you. Like he's like, I have really high expectations. And he's like laughing and smiling at me, right? Because he can only give so many because it's so political, right? He can only give or he has to jump through all these hoops to give more. And he's like, Plata, like, yes, you crushed it. And my expectation of you is that you are going to crush it, and therefore you have met expectations. Yeah. I was like, Norm, that's it. And I my literal words are, Norm, that's fucking bullshit, man. And he's like, he's like, here's the deal. we played in golf league together. Like we were on the same team.
Yeah.
He's like, at golf tonight, you got to beat me. You have to beat me, and you have to give me 9 strokes. We played 9 holes, so I had to give him like a stroke a hole. He's like, if you beat me, I will jump through all the damn hoops to give you an exceeds expectations. Otherwise, you get he would always call it the highly coveted meets expectations. Like, because he knew it was just a freaking joke, right? It's
it's just a joke.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
He knew it. But he's like, but it meant something to me because I'm like, what? Like, I kicked ass this year. Like, I did all these things. And he's like, you met my expectations.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
You son of a,
Like, in hindsight, I appreciate the hell out of him for that. Because, like, he got the most enjoyment out of the stupid political process. Like, he maximized the laughs that we all got. So
you outperformed everybody else, but that was our expectation, and
that's why we hired you to do that.
We didn't expect much from them, and they exceeded what we expected, even though they're terrible. You're like, great. Look, it's not a broken system.
Neato, we're great.
This is working just as planned, just as it should.
And he just had the biggest smile on his face, just laughing at at me getting all worked up.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
Props to Norm. Kudos to Norm.
Well, that's good. At least, I was going to say that it helps if you have a manager that gets it and can help you as much as and cares for their employees and can help you as much as they can. And I know their hands are tied a lot, but if they go to bat for their employees and that makes a big difference when you have those people around you. Even if they don't have a lot of power in the larger organization.
And for the record, I golf like shit that night, so I just ended up with the expectations that year.
Exactly.
So back, sorry for the digression, back to IBM. At what point, and you had a few different roles at IBM, at what point were you like starting to really tinker with the idea of going and doing something yourself? Was there like a specific catalyst you remember, or was it just like a slow grind of, I'm kind of burning. All right. Like, that's it. That's the last straw. How did that go for you?
Yeah, it's a great question. I definitely know the last 3 years or so, I could have left at any point. It was that kind of a deal, but I would say early on, I really enjoyed it. I was a big process improvement. That was my big thing, where I came in and there was a lot of manual data entry manipulation. We're doing forecasts and budgets for hundreds of millions of dollars of different organizations in the company. It's not the number doesn't matter. I'm not trying to sound impressive. It was the same as doing it for $10,000, but it was just Excel spreadsheets and reports and things like that. And so it was like, okay, how do our systems work? How can we automate a lot of this? I taught myself how to do VBA programming and automated a lot of things. So it's like, hey, just click this button and then it does 2 hours worth of work for you in 10 seconds. So it helped a lot with that kind of stuff. And then I got a chance to do pricing, which was the majority of my career there. So after I was probably 2.5 years or 3 years, my first 3 years, I got into pricing. So we were pricing these big System Z mainframe servers that airlines and big retailers and healthcare companies use. They're the ones they're multi-million-dollar servers. They do, millions of transactions per second. And so I got to learn all about those, how to price them. If we would work with sales and they'd come in and say, hey, this price isn't good enough. And how do we structure it? How do we look at the profit? And then ultimately I got to lead the pricing strategy for North America for those servers when we brought out new servers, and then also helped with the team that prices those special bids where we would get them in from sales every day. We also had a business partner channel. We'd sell to a business partner who'd sell to a customer. So I got to manage that distribution channel and the rules of because they would say, well, the price isn't good enough for the customer, but then we'd have to say, okay, we'll bring the customer price down, but then the amount that Mr. Business Partner can make has to be less too. We got to kind of share in this equally because we're not going to take it all out of our pocket. So there was that kind of stuff. So I learned, a lot about that, and that was a lot of fun. But some of the stuff that I started to see on top of all the stuff that you're mentioning was every time we got a new executive leading the pricing organization, they just wanted to run things differently, right?
Yeah, their agenda got put to the forefront in their politics.
Yeah, and a lot of it was reorganization of all the reporting. So it's a very matrix organization. It's probably similar to Cargill. definitely similar to 3M, where you have geographical,
you got product line and geography line and
product line, and then you have function as well. Then you have sales and finance and all this stuff. And so, at different times, the delegation holders would be like, well, it's North America, and it's going to be it's pricing is here, and then sales is here, and then and there's these weird interlocking chains of delegation, and then it would change.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know which of the three of you to listen to, because you're all telling me different shit, and like, you're all just trying to protect your bonus.
Yeah, exactly. And
I'm in the middle of it.
And we had sales at the top of they had the final say on pricing at one point, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense at all, because
a bunch of cowboys, a bunch of freaking cowboys.
Yeah, and I was like, so you're leaving it up to they're either going to get paid something or nothing, and they're setting all these terrible precedents because it's the last 7 days of the quarter, and we're trying to hit a quota, and
they're just selling shit for nothing.
Yeah, and then next quarter, the same customers come back and they want it for the same or less, and it's just like, you guys, it's totally a short-term thinking. It's a Wall Street way of thinking. And it's like, you guys are just setting these terrible precedents for your largest customers. So there's a lot of that. And then, so we constantly were shifted around, like, who are we reporting to? And we're going to reorganize how we do this. And then the other thing that came in was agile workflow. So all of a sudden they brought in Trello, and everyone had to use Trello.
Yeah.
But every task that they were doing on there, we had to meet every single day with our team and our boss, like, on the call, and we had to physically talk about every single thing we were working on and what progress we made. And I was like, if this isn't micromanaging, it was just terrible, because
the progress I made yesterday was I met with you guys to talk about the progress.
Yeah, I was like, we had meetings about having potentially more meetings. So it was, early on, I was given a lot of flexibility, and they were always very flexible. Like, they didn't micromanage when you came in, when you left. You kind of got the flow, but as long as you were getting your stuff done, you were performing, they didn't bother you, right? And I love that about it, where it was like, if I perform, you're gonna give me raises, you're gonna be flexible when I need to go to the doctor or pick up my kids. Great. Like, it worked out great, because you're putting in the effort and you're getting the reward. But it sort of shifted where it was like, well, we're going to start to micromanage people now. And it really took the wind out of my sails. And I was like, listen, I don't really have motive to go do all these crazy cool things and projects, because I just need to look busy on a day-to-day basis in front of my peers and in front of everybody else by doing the stupid stuff that really doesn't matter, but that your boss or other people are giving you kudos for because it sounds important. But it doesn't really impact the business very much. Back to your point of like, do we really want to do good work that's going to make a difference, or do we want to just seem like we are?
Yeah.
So
just like stroke people's egos. Is that what we're trying to do here? Because I suck at that, then I'm out. If that's what we're doing, I shouldn't be here.
Yep, exactly. And so it was that and a couple other systems, and they made you fill out all this stuff because then they aggregated the data up the chain, and they could show everybody else that look how many things we got done because we'd moved this many Trello cards and we got this many projects. And
the metric becomes there's a metric about the metric. Like the board is meant to track the things, and then a metric gets created about the board.
Yes.
Like, wait, we're tracking the thing we used to track stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was very much like, okay, we're now going to put you in a fishbowl, and we're gonna just manipulate the crap out of this, and we're not going to really do real work anymore. And it became even more of a game, and I was like, I don't like this. So so that was a big part of it. COVID hit, and then we all worked remote in 2020, and that's when we sort of decided, hey, we're going to move out of Minnesota. I had been looking for, wanting to live different, in a different place with more sunshine, like we talked about, and looking at again, that entrepreneurial string, it was kind of tugging on me. I was like, hey, based on what I know, and I've, started to talk with you, Dan, and other people like in the home services industry and just other small businesses. I was like, there's so much stuff that they don't know or they don't have access to that we're doing here at IBM in terms of processes and tools and just thought patterns and solving problems like pricing strategy, things like that. It's like, how can we bring that to all these other businesses and make it accessible and affordable? And that's kind of what started my mind along that level. But I ended up working with them for another year. We started traveling. We used it as an opportunity to say, hey, A, where do we want to live? B, what do we want to do for a business? How do we get that started? And C, how are we going to operate this new life with, with homeschooling? And it was really also about how do we make an adventure, make something positive out of this COVID situation when everyone's kind of hunkered down this was going into, we ended up leaving it in November. So it's snowing, it's going into the dead of winter, and our kids can't go to school because of COVID, and it keeps shutting down. And we're basically homeschooling anyways, except we're not, we're still like have to answer to the school, even though we're doing all the work and the teachers aren't. So we're like, how do we turn this into a positive thing? So we're like, let's travel the country, let's homeschool, let's go to all these places that we're actually talking about instead of just reading about them in a book. Let's go explore. Let's go to a bunch of national parks. Let's go to, the historical places and learn about this and just make an adventure out of it. And at the same time, we can figure out what do we do? We can game plan about a business and see where we want to live. So that's kind of what started that whole deal. So it was about a year at IBM before I decided to leave. And that was, I would say, the hardest decision. And I don't know how you felt about leaving Cargill, but that was a really hard, jumping out of a perfectly good plane situation. And that was, I don't know, that was pretty hard emotionally for me. I don't know if you felt that same way. I
think I'm an excitable dude. So I don't, and I give Dalkey credit for this. And you might as well, from like hanging out in the duck blind in our conversations from pre your departure at IBM. But Mike was so helpful to me and getting my mind right to be able to leave. And like he and I, and you, I mean, like I knew who Mike was, and Alex, his wife, and I were like friends from working at Cargill and knew each other in college. Yeah. And you and I obviously knew each other, but somehow Mike and I never really crossed paths at Eau Claire. But when you had introduced me to him, when we started using him for financial planning, and then he left Northwestern Mutual. And then he and I kept working on Blue Sky stuff together and kept working on it. And that was like 2011, 2012. Yeah. It was 2016 before I had started and like came in full time. But for 4 years, he and I worked together on it. And his repeating message was always like, what's the worst that can happen? Right. Like you can always go back. But if you stay there, you'll never know, right? And he had the conviction to take that leap a lot sooner. Yeah. And Mike is a little bit more of a risk on sort of dude. So like it took a lot of courage and like conviction that he borrowed me to get me excited to leave. Yeah. When I left, it might be the stupidest thing I've ever done. When I left Cargill, I was getting like fast tracked to do like international projects. Like I did the one in China, that I was tagged to one in Costa Rica, but I didn't end up doing that one. I got tagged to a project. We did this meat business roll up. Yeah. And Cargill restructured. And I was the one interviewing Brian Sykes at the time, who ran all the meat businesses. We were creating content, which is this hilarious that I'm a podcast host now. Yeah. We were creating content for all of Cargill for like 150,000 internal people. Okay. And they asked me to be the host of the show. I was like 25. Right? We're like, whatever I was. I don't remember what the hell I was. But like, so like I would interview Brian. He was the president of the meat operations. Yeah. And we had a private jet in Minneapolis, and we'd go to Wichita back and forth. That's where Cargill's meat business was. Yeah. We were rolling in all like turkey business, the egg business I was a part of, all these different businesses. They wanted me to be the host of the show interviewing Brian Sykes. So I interviewed Brian a bunch of times, and like, we just were buddies, right? Yeah. I knew it was like a privilege to be in that space and be doing those sorts of things. And like a couple of years later, Brian's the CEO of Cargill, right? I was on this like fast track to do a bunch of sweet shit, but I don't regret leaving at all. And again, like I haven't burned any bridges. If I was going to go anywhere besides the small business world, I would go back to Cargill. Yeah, it was a great place to be in, and I don't regret any of my experiences there. It was a ton of fun. Yeah. But like Dalkey said, like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, it's just kind of an itch you got to scratch at some point. Yeah. And thank God to him, and kudos to him for giving me the opportunity to like go like have that outlet, go get that experience. Because I think I was still, and in hindsight, maybe I should have just started doing bookkeeping on my own at the time. That, like, realistically, in hindsight, that was the thing that I started doing with Blue Skies from the beginning back in like 2012 is said like, hey, Mike, that's cool. You're buying small businesses. How can I help? And he's like, man, I hate doing this accounting shit.
Yeah.
Why? I don't like it, but I know how to do it.
Do it. Yeah.
Right. Like, I'd like the finance side of it more, but let's dig in. And so, like, Mike and I spent so much time refining our chart of accounts and figure out how to measure stuff and hanging out and doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, now that's what I do all the time, right? Like, that is my job. That's what Best Damn Bookkeeping is all about, is doing that stuff.
Yep.
But it took me like a full, like, 6-7 year lap of like trying to run a bunch of maid service businesses and window cleaning businesses where I figured out, I actually suck at that. And it's not that much fun. I should go back to the bookkeeping thing.
Yeah.
But I really needed Mike's like convincing to take that leap.
Yeah.
I don't know if Dalkey didn't like give me that wisdom that I would have had the guts to take the leap.
Yeah.
And I think, who knows where I'd be if I like stayed at Cargill. Like, again, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't regret leaving, but I don't think I'd stop doing this because it's too much fun. Yeah. But I know exactly what I would do if I stopped.
Yeah.
Like, I would go back and if I could, I would do the commodity trading for Norm. Like, I would just go right back to that life. That was a ton of fun. I'd go play golf. I'd go play golf for an exceeds expectations.
Yeah, exactly. Work on your golf game and just for that. For that mark.
Play some golf. But no, man, it's such a funny leap to take. It is like, it wasn't. Also, I had this other catalyst when I took the leap, which was we knew, and Dalkey had it in his phone for 2 years.
Yeah.
Marty went back for her MBA full time. And so I stayed at Cargill because I had the salary and the benefits and the good cushy corporate job.
Yep.
And so Dalkey and I had decided when the minute Marty starts at 3M, I'm leaving Cargill. Yep. And it was like he had it in his calendar, and it was like Labor Day weekend of 2016. Here Plata comes. Yeah. And like it was what Dalkey wanted to. Like, he wanted to move. They wanted to move to Nashville. He didn't want to be an operator ever. He wanted to be an investor, right? So it was good. And he was stuck in that role for way too long for who he is. Like, he operated those businesses forever and ever and ever. In hindsight, like, at the time, I just showed up. But I mean, like, he had those things from like 2010 through 2016. Like, I kind of forget that. Like, he ran those companies for a hell of a long time. Yeah. And running those businesses, it took a toll on me. Like, I don't regret running them, but holy shit, I'll never do that again. Mm-hmm. Like, and as an investor and an operator, in hindsight, we had a shitty strategy. We had a terrible strategy. Yeah. Like, I think he and I would agree on that. Like, that was a dumbass business. But it's one of those where it's like, you're going to do a lot of stupid shit in business. Yeah. But that doesn't mean it's regrettable.
Right.
You just learn a lot. And so it makes you better. You just won't do it again. Yep. Like, I'm never going to try to run that many businesses around the country ever again. I learned my lesson. I don't regret it. I learned a ton. I wish I would have maybe sold them a little sooner and went to Dalkey and Brian and Corey and been like, hey, we need to knock this off right now. Like, this ain't working. Either I'm not the right guy or this ain't the right strategy, or maybe a little bit of both, but we got to shut this baby down. I probably didn't have the conviction to do that soon enough, but man, we learned so much, and I think we're all better off for it. But holy shit, it sucked. Yeah, it like running those businesses was worse than anything I did in the corporate world. Yeah, just beat me down. Yeah, just beat the shit out of me. But better for it.
Exhausted. Yeah. Either win or you learn, right? That's the saying. But
that's right.
It is cool. It is interesting to see all those threads, because I mean, we obviously went to school together. I knew Mike. I knew you separately. You were looking for personal investment planner, and I had already left Northwestern Mutual. Introduced you to Mike. You guys did the whole Blue Skies thing. He encouraged you to leave. And then I still remember having a conversation with you where you were encouraging me to leave, or not, where you just like, you can totally do this, and there's a need for this. And like, I totally could see it. And I was like, huh. And you gave me that nugget where it was like, oh, okay. And that was one of my final pushes before I started the business, was like, okay, yeah, why not? Let's do it. And
you and Dalkey and I had talked every year in the duck blind, year after year for a few years about like, when can we afford to hire Justin? When can we afford to hire Justin?
Yeah.
In hindsight, I'm glad we didn't, right? I don't think that, again, it wasn't the right strategy, but I think those types of influences, good or bad, like kind of open the world up a little bit, like just like give you a peek in.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I totally skipped over that.
It's a gateway drug. It's a gateway drug.
It is a gateway. Yeah, but yeah, we did. I remember like talking about the whole bookkeeping for the first time, the bookkeeping thing for the first time, and what would this look like, and how much could you grow that to, and what would that look like as a business? How would you run that? And yeah, that was a lot of cool conversations, and just like that. Those kind of things really opened the aperture of like, oh, am I allowed to think like this? Am I allowed to actually dream and, like just visualize some of what could be and talk about it? And it was like invigorating. And I was like, okay, I can see why people like this. And does that mean it's all going to work? Not necessarily, but that's the start of it. Right. And that was the first time where it really became fun to dream, because I've never been a dreamer. I'm more just pragmatic, like you said. So
just crushing it, just busy working your ass off. And
yep. Just blinders on, head down.
Oh, I lost you there for a second. While you're frozen, am I frozen or are you frozen? Was that me? Did I freeze or did you freeze?
I don't know. Your face froze.
It was me. Yeah, you froze, but then I saw my computer do the thing.
No worries.
Who knows? I don't remember what I was going to say, but it was probably really awesome.
It was super insightful.
Oh no, I was going to say like, one of the things that I reflect on too, from a risk aversion standpoint, and this is for anybody that's like thinking about starting up or just started up and they're like nervous about it. There's a conviction level needed, right? Like it is feast or famine, and you do need to go create, and you do need to go bet on yourself, right? There's no guarantee, but there's a couple things that happen. And Justin, I think, like, kudos to you. I don't know if you recognize this for yourself, but like, you're really like taking the leap, because you are the provider in your family in that regard of like the income. I still am not, right? The whole time, like the catalyst I needed, I'm so risk averse. The catalyst I needed was when Marty got out of grad school and started like her highfalutin job at 3M. And we're having the conversation, like this has been ongoing with our financial advisor at Northwestern Mutual. Thank you very much. About who's like a really good friend of mine. My new Mike Ducky, since Mike quit me back in the day. But he had said, like, you guys, you have like, we're savers. Surprise. Yeah. He's like, you guys have plenty of money. Like, don't wait until you've saved it all for Marty to go do what she really wants, right? Does she really want to work in the corporate world, or does she want to join Best Damn Bookkeeping? Like, you work together on this thing.
Yeah.
So we've had that conversation, but we're so risk averse still, right? Like, it's, oh, but do we give up that to go get this? And I think like you guys have taken that leap in a funny way. I'm still so risk averse. Like, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur, and it felt like a big leap for me to leave Blue Skies and do my own thing. Like, even when it's a thing I've like proven I can do, it felt like a big leap. Like, it was scary as shit.
Yeah.
And we still haven't like fully, I won't say fully committed. Like, I'm fully committed, but we still have Marty and her doing her thing and her wage. And so I think like props to you. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
Like, that's a huge leap. And I'm curious, like it makes, like I said, I wasn't as anxious, I don't think, because we had Marty doing the 3M thing. And when I left, it wasn't just me starting my own company, right? I was starting, I joined Dalkey's company, and I owned 3% of it at the time, or what, like I owned a minority share.
Yeah.
And so I was just, in hindsight, I wanted to do what you did, and I have now, but I didn't have the guts to do it. Right? Like, again, I don't regret doing the stuff I did with Blue Skies and with Dalkey. I learned so much. It was friggin' awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Sucked, but it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think any of us would ever do it again. Like, do I wish I had just started Best Damn Bookkeeping in 2016? Yeah, it would have been cool, but I wouldn't have been as good at it.
Right.
Like I learned a lot of stuff, but I didn't have the guts to do what you did. Like I just took another job. And that was actually part of my departure was like I left Cargill because I didn't want to work for a bunch of other people and make them a bunch of money. I wanted to like do the small business thing and try that. And I thought that's what I was doing, but then like it manifested and Dalkey and the other investors just purely became investors. I was like, oh shit. Like now I'm just working with a bunch of investors, which is what I left Cargill to not do. So I gotta do a redo. But again, it's like not a regrettable experience. It was such a great experience. But what you did, I think part of the, I'm mansplaining to you, but like what you did took way more guts, right? Like I jumped into a job with a small business, but in a little bit of ownership, but you fucking dove into a vat of shit head first. You went right for it.
Yeah, I guess I haven't really thought about it that way, but it's probably true. I mean, because Bryn was a music teacher when we were in Rochester, which wasn't, again, it's not a top paying thing. And she did private music lessons on top of that. But we did leave that when we started traveling. I was still working for IBM, but she did lose like all of that. She started working for Blue Skies with you and did some of that on the side, but also with homeschooling and taking care of the kids.
That was just fun though.
It was
Bryn
just
and I working together. I think both Bryn and I working together, we both would have done it for free. We had so much damn fun. I don't think either one of us needed to get paid to come up with a bunch of ideas that neither one of us did anything about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but there was a couple, small things in between there. I did work for Dalkey again for a little while at the cabinet company, so got to be, in the CFO role of a smaller company, and so learned a lot there. So, thanks to him for that, obviously that opportunity, and then took a whole different turn when we moved to Florida. And I was supposed to start with this other company. It turned out to be a fraud. I can't remember if we talked about that before. But
I was gonna ask you about that because I remember talking to you about. Yeah. And like I know you got to be careful about what you say about it. But if you want to get into that, I think that is such a unique, ridiculous experience. It's pure entertainment value if you feel like getting into it at all. I do remember talking to you about it like through the experience, and like every time I checked in with you about it, it was just this whipsaw of like I don't know what exactly is going on. Like I'm trying to pick all the pieces up and like call the shots like the shots need to be called. Do you want to get into it at all?
We can. I'll finish this story first, but I would say through all that, we were luckily always taken care of. And again, it's like, it wasn't like thoughtful planning. It wasn't, everything was, I was amazing at what I did. It was nothing like that. It just somehow all worked out because it was risky to start out on my own when I was the guy, right? Like I was the breadwinner and I had to figure that out. The person that had to bring that home. And it was definitely, there was a lot of tough times in that right at the beginning. I would say probably a year into it. I would say probably again recently, there's different times of season, different seasons where it's just like, holy cow, like I'm exhausted. And again, I need to keep doing this. I need to keep killing, to feed my family. And how do we shift? Like, what do we need to do differently? How do we make it better? So there's always those times, but it just kind of grew from nothing into what it is. And there was definitely fears and worries and a lot of anxious, sleepless nights. But it somehow all worked out and it's not over. The journey, the journey's not over by any means. It's just, we're at where we're at, and there's going to be more, seasons in the future. But it is a constant mind bender where it's just like, you go through seasons all the time. It's like, it's good, it's bad, it's good, it's bad. And you just hope that by the end of it all, you've been able to weather it enough and survive. Right. But I would say the biggest thing that I feel like I'm grateful for is the time freedom and the flexibility to see kids grow up and spend time with their sporting things. And, now that they're homeschooled, I can go jump out and help them with school for 15 minutes or, help cook lunch or, clean up or whatever I need to do. But just spend, a little bit of time with them during the day. So I think, regardless of the money, like you said, money is one thing, but I think that time, and a lot of people are looking for this now, especially since COVID hit, is that time is more important than money, and geographical freedom is another thing. So the fact that we got to travel the country while I was, doing the business, and also that we got to spend so much time with our kids, like I'll never have that opportunity again. Right. And if I was working in a corporate job, I'd be either in a physical location, or I'd be having to be busy and, 9 to 5 and traveling, doing all that stuff. And there'd be a lot less flexibility to do those things, to take vacations, to travel the country, just to see the kids during the day. So I think, I have to constantly remind myself, even during the stressful times and the times where it feels like you feel like giving up, where it's like, no, it's worth it. And you don't need to have all the money in the world. It's really about the journey, and it's about being able to spend the time with the family. So I think that's really what kind of got me through it all, where I never felt like that at IBM. And I feel like that now, where I'm just so blessed to be able to do that, where it's like, I want to balance the life and make it all work so that I can do that. And I don't need to run the biggest company. I don't need to be uber successful. I don't need for everybody to know who I am and have the most money in the world. Yep. That's not important to me. It's about balance, and it's about just having that life that you want to have. And so we kind of tore down all the building blocks, and we worked on just putting one piece together at a time. Like, okay, here's how we're going to do school, and we're going to travel, and we're going to see these people. We've made a ton of friends on the road that are either full-time RVers or people we've reconnected with that live different places. We got to go visit them. Like, okay, now here's what the business is going to look like. And I don't want it to be this. I want it to be this. So it fits everything else. And you just kind of put those pieces together, and sometimes it crumbles and you got to rebuild it. But looking back, it's so much better than it would have been if I just stayed the course at IBM. And to your point on, I don't want to do it again, but I'm thankful for the opportunity of the blue skies and the Cargill. I look back now and I see things that I'd learned through all of those different phases that I'm either using now in my business. So whether it's sales I learned at Northwestern Mutual, it's like I know how to talk to people a little bit better now because of that. And IBM, that's where I got all my chops for, financial analysis. It's because of IBM. And I learned stuff when I worked at the cabinet company for Mike, because there was, that was a whole different deal. So
you learn how to do the nimble small business putting out and what to tackle first and prioritize.
Yeah. Right. So even though all these things I've done weren't ideal, and I always wanted to do things differently, and who knows if I'm going to do something differently in the future, but you can see how the timing is not always, you can't come out of college and be like, I'm going to do a business, I'm going to have it all figured out. You got to fall down, you got to learn. But when you kind of the gap in the gain mindset, when you're looking backwards, you can be like, oh, I can see how all these pieces help me now where I'm at. And probably what I'm doing now is going to help me with something else in the future. So I don't need to feel like I have it all figured out and I'm at the, it's just, I'm adding another piece to the puzzle that's probably going to help me down the road. But I'm thankful for all those things that I did, and I couldn't have done it any other way. Like I said, I couldn't have come out of college and be like, I'm going to run this.
I'm going to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. let's go do this. You can't without doing all the steps ahead of time. You can't do that. So it all happens for a reason, right? So,
I wouldn't say you can't. I would say you and I can't.
I can't. I couldn't do it. True.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that can and do. Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Funny in hindsight, like I mowed lawns when I was in high school. I could have grown a bit. It never even struck me as a thing I could do and start a business. Never once thought about it. Now I do bookkeeping for probably more than 100 lawn care companies.
Yeah.
It's like, and like some of them are 18 years old, right? Mm-hmm. And like they're doing $500,000 in revenue at 18 years old. I'm like, what? When I was 18, I was mowing lawns like $20 a pop, and I was pumping. I had like $200.
Yeah,
like I thought that was fill my Mercury Sable up with some gas.
Yeah.
So it's just funny, like where you're at in your journey.
Yes.
But I think, and you mentioned this, I want to hit on it again, which is like, just whatever you do, enjoy the journey, you guys. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so many ways to make a few bucks. You need enough money to do your thing, but I think the lesson I've learned over time is, and I mentioned this earlier, is what fuels my fire is just doing shit that I really enjoy. Yep. And it took me too long to figure it out. Like I thought I'd really enjoy my blue skies journey. And in hindsight, like I was miserable.
Yep.
And not to any detriment of my business partners in there. It just wasn't the right journey. It was lessons learned, and it was like, again, non-regrettable. But it wasn't the right journey. I fell back into the same trap that I was in the corporate world. And it was like, oh shit. Like I was so, and this is my nature. I love to work hard. I like to work out hard. I like to get 6 hours of sleep and get back up. I'll drink a case of beer and I'll get 6 hours of sleep and I'll get back up. Right. Like I want to go hard. I like to go hard. I've been this way since college.
Yeah.
Like I just like to go, and that's where I get my enjoyment out of. And so but every once in a while I got to like pick my head up out of the sand and be like, but where the hell am I going?
Yeah.
And sometimes you pick your head up and you go like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Whose dreams am I working on right now?
Yeah. Yep.
Because I don't think I'm working on my dreams. I've just been working hard. Like I just like working hard. And every once in a while I gotta like do this. Like, what am I really doing here?
Yeah.
And it's funny when you get the clarity of that, it stops becoming about the result.
Yeah.
And that was a thing that I found at Cargill, and we kind of turned into that at Blue Skies. And I think we didn't have this conversation in the right way when we did the Blue Skies thing. When you're in the corporate world, it's always a result, right? It's like, we got to get to here. And you mentioned it earlier. It's like, we got to get to here. Okay. Now we got to get to here.
Yep.
And it's like, nobody says why. It's just like, because somebody's bonus rides on it. Because somebody somewhere said, we got to do this because the stockholders need more money.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's never good enough either. Yeah. We're always moving. And when you get there, it's not good enough. Now move again, but we don't know why. Yeah.
Yeah. I did a podcast recently on goal setting and trying to convince people not to set static goals, like never a revenue or a profit goal. But we did that at Blue Skies. We didn't know any better, right? We came from corporate experiences where we thought that was what you needed to do. You needed to set revenue and profit goals, static goals. And then you needed to revise them once you got there, you needed to change them. Yeah. And I was like, no, this sucks. Like you just feel like a freaking greyhound chasing a rabbit around a track. The minute you catch up to it, it goes faster and runs away.
Yeah.
And there's like no joy in it. It's like this weird dopamine hit of like, you hit it and you're like, oh, we made it to 1 million or this or that. And then you're like, oh shit, the goal just changed. Yeah. Like it happens in sales all the time. I think it's hilarious. Marty used to be in the sales role, and the minute she would hit her financial targets and like get her bonus, they'd be like, oh, good job. Well, now they're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
now they met expectations. You're right. Now they're
and it's classic. But I mean, it's like, I don't know why we put up with it.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I think the beauty of being a small business owner is you get to like forge your own path.
Yeah.
But I think it's like a conscious thing we all need to do is we have to be really careful of the goals that we set.
Yep.
What is it that we really want?
Yep.
Money is a tool.
Yeah.
And there's some joy in like building a thing that's profitable, but man, the relationships are so much more valuable.
Yeah.
And the experiences are so much valuable, and like the family and the fun.
Yep.
And if you do everything right, the money happens. It's a result. But so many people start doing their thing. And granted, like when you first start, you're just like, and we need to make money. We got to figure out how to make money. And it's hard to like snap out of that. When you first start a business, like it has to make money. You got to figure that out.
Yeah.
But once you figure that out, it's hard to abandon we need to make money to we need to build a life.
Right.
And the business needs to support the life. And I could go get a job tomorrow to make money.
Yeah.
This thing needs to be fun too. Or why the hell would I do this? Because I can go not have fun making money in the corporate world.
Right.
Like if I'm going to do this and like do all the pain and suffering to do the small business thing,
yeah,
should probably make a few bucks too, so I can keep doing it.
Yep.
And help some people along the way.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's all really good nuggets. And I agree with it's really about, and I've thought a lot about that too lately, is what defines success? Like, how do you define success? Right. And if you're doing it based on the numbers, there's always going to be someone with bigger numbers, and then you're going to strive to get there. And even if you do get there, you're going to look back and be like, but why? Right?
Bro,
Like, why was that important to me?
Yeah. Now what?
And what kind of life did I live in order to get there? So for me, a lot of it is about that lifestyle, like you said, the relationships, all that kind of stuff, just doing the good work. And for me, I've always had a bad habit of living in the future as well, like either the past or the future, but mostly the future. And so one of the biggest things I'm working now is being just like uber present, and with whether it's with the wife and the kids, and especially now with my clients, instead of always thinking like growth, like go get new clients and do that, my biggest focus now is like, I just want to serve like who I have right now to the best of my ability. And, I'm not trying to like sound cliche or braggadocious, but it's just like, that's part of it, is in every area of my life, I have to force myself to like, okay, I can't think about that now. That's not something I can do today. What can I do today to make a difference? And not take too much on. Right. And I always think like, there's so much I can do today. And it's like, no, you can't do these 30 things today. You can do 3, and you can do those well. But then when you add those up over time, it makes a difference, right? It makes a huge difference. So, so I think that's a big thing, is like being super present, and then also really defining what success looks like in your life, not just your business, but money and the business. It's a tool to support the kind of life you want to live. Right. And so, so that's really the way I want to focus on it, and not be defined by the revenue and profit and how many clients and how many this or that or the other thing. It's like, you can't, if you put your identity in that, then you're gonna lose that at some point. You got to have your identity outside of all that. It's something that takes a while and it's really hard. It's like a daily struggle to focus on that, but it leads to such a much more like fulfilling time and a peace, I guess, and a calm with it. So
yeah, I had such I had a catalyst to this, but I had like an epiphany when I was at Blue Skies, which was, again, like, I'm not money motivated. And when you have investors, and this was like a weakness of me, is just like you default to like, I need to make them money. Right. And so every budget you design, everything you report to them, everything is about money, right? You have investors, you have partners, and they need to make a profit. Right. And so like, for years, I voted to underpay me. Like, we paid me like shit. I think all of us would agree we paid me like shit. Yeah. And I voted for it. Yeah. Like, I voted to put me last. And I still would. Honestly, like, it wasn't about that. But everything became about money, and it disconnected with my core values, like having investors. And the thing that slapped me in the face the most to like get me back to like, why am I doing this journey? Yeah. Right. Like, why am I really here? Michael Gregory from Click Call Sell he and I were trying to figure out how to put Blue Skies, and we had recruiting and bookkeeping, and he had a marketing service, and we had tried to do marketing for other clients. We didn't have the right entrepreneurial dude to do it. We had a good employee, but not an entrepreneur person to do that. Mm-hmm. Like a college buddy of mine. And I was like, we need the marketing thing. Like, marketing and recruiting goes really well together. And then bookkeeping is just like the third layer to like report back what they did. Yeah. So I was trying to figure that out with him. And he's like, I don't know why I would partner with you, Dan, because like, you've got this baggage, right? You have these 3 other dudes. And what do they bring to the table? And I was like, well, like, they've been there the whole time. Like, they're off doing other stuff. Right. Yep. But they provide money, relationships, and expertise. Yep. He's like, but like, what money do you need? Well, none. Like, for bookkeeping, none. Right. For other businesses where we're doing acquisitions, we need a capital, but now we're in a business where we don't need capital. Mm-hmm. Like, what expertise do you need? I'm like, oh, well, none. Yeah. Like, I'm developing it. But like, I'm just not going to ask them, like, in this context, that like, there's not expertise to be gotten. Sure. And then like, what relationships do you need? And I was like, well, 2 of them have no idea what industries we even play in. Like, Dalkey does, but now he's doing other investments, right? He's going off in other spaces. That was what he wanted to do. He's like, so why do you have these investors? And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, because they were here
Stop asking me hard questions.
Yeah, because we started this together. But it was such a good reckoning of like, oh shit, like I'm now doing the thing that I started helping Dalkey with, but I'm now creating it for 3 other dudes.
Sure.
And it's and like it was like I'm so glad he like taught me that lesson.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit. I just got back into the trap of what I was doing at Cargo, which is I'm just making a bunch of other people money.
Yeah.
But like it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. Like again, don't regret the journey at all. Like we all learned a ton and we made a few bucks in the process. It was cool. But man, it was such a weird epiphany to have of like, oh shit. I'm not, and I didn't, in hindsight, like I was beat down. Like I was not, I'm a happy dude. Like if anybody out there has ever interacted with me, like it's hard to find me in a bad mood.
Yeah.
And there were times it was easy to find me in a bad mood. And like, if that's one thing that I can control, that is not you. I don't want you to ever find me in a bad mood.
Right.
Like life's too short to be in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Not to say I don't get in bad moods, but damn it. Like, let's go have some fun.
Yeah.
We gotta drink some beers. We gotta kill some ducks. We gotta kill some deer. We gotta do some business. We gotta be going. Like no time for sleep. We gotta have some fun.
That's right.
But it was such a weird epiphany to be like, oh shit, like I need to go do this on my own.
Yeah.
Right. I gotta find a way to do my jam.
Yeah.
And I think again, I don't regret any of it. But it takes like a hindsight bird's eye view to like really appreciate the journey and really be like take joy in the journey. There doesn't need to be, you don't need to hit this much in revenue. You don't need to hit this much in profitability. You need to enjoy what you're doing, because if you don't enjoy what you're doing and the grind every day, like it's a grind and that's okay. Like working hard should be a lot of fun. And if you don't enjoy the grind and the working hard, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Like that's like, there's no, I was on a podcast yesterday with the landscape lighting group and Ryan Lee, who runs it, and I coach in his group, but he and I had this conversation a month ago, was like the goal setting conversation. Yeah. Some people set goals on revenue and on profitability, and then they get there and they're like, okay, right. It's like so corporate. It's just this like static goal. Yeah. And you get there and you're like,
empty.
Shit. We did it. Dopamine for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Now what do we do? Right. And we're all taught to do that, especially if you've come from the corporate world, because that's all the corporate world knows is like set a static goal based on what our shareholders will like. So our stock price goes up. Yeah. And then when we get there, we're going to move your goal. We're going to move your bonus structure. We're going to move everything we've ever taught you and see if you'll chase that too.
Yep.
Because we need to go back to our shareholders and tell them another number.
Yeah.
And it's like, what a freaking bullshit gauntlet that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's more to it. There's more fun to be had.
Yep.
Hence why we're here doing this.
Yep. Soul sucking was the term that I used when I left. I was like, again, nothing against IBM specifically, but the corporate world in general is very soul sucking. I was like, I can't sit here and do this for the next 20 years just to be able to retire and whatever. I was like, there's more to life. Right. So, but yeah, you have to enjoy, if you don't enjoy the process, then you should find something else that you do enjoy more. Right. Cause there's a lot out there. So yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think big corporations are bad. I think it tends to be though, that big corporations, the people that rise up, and again, like I mentioned Brian Sykes, I got to work with Brian a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And he like shortly after I left, he became the CEO of Cargill. I'm just like, man, like my boy. Yeah. Like Brian and I were like buddies. Awesome. Yeah. And I'm like, man, who knows where I could have been? Like hanging. Who knows? Yeah. I'm not saying like he was soul sucking, but in a lot of cases, the culture of it is soul sucking.
Yep.
It just tends to be that even he has a board of directors with a family of shareholders that doesn't give a fuck about you and what you got going on, as long as the 4 lake houses they have are still paid for and that their stock price is going up.
Yep.
Right. Yep. And so at the end of the day, Brian is the nicest dude in the world. The guy's a great dude. Like, great dude. Got to know him really personally. But he's doing their bidding, right? Yep. Like, all the way up.
Yep.
They're like, you're doing somebody else's bidding. And so, and I'm really conscious of this with our team at Best Damn Bookkeeping. We have one metric. I tell them all the time. I do not care about revenue. I do not care about profit. We are not here to make Dan money. Like, how shitty would that be if your job is to work here and make me money? What a shitty thing I just hired you for. You have one metric that I'm really worried about, which is you do not lose clients. That's it. I want you, we'll price it right? The business model is not foreign. I understand the financials.
Yeah.
We will price it right. We know what the process is to do a good job. Your job is to do that. Do what we promise the client. If we do that, we won't lose any clients and we will be successful. If we don't, we're in a recurring service. If we don't lose any clients, we're going to keep growing.
Yep.
So that's the only thing I care about. Don't lose any clients.
Yep.
And if you lose clients, know that I'm going to be knocking on your door, wondering what you're doing wrong. Why are we losing clients? That's the only thing I care about.
Yep.
It's not about the revenue. It's not about the money. That's a result. That'll happen if we do a kick-ass job.
Yep.
But losing clients sucks. That means we're not doing something right.
Yeah.
We got to do shit right.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah. That's cool. That's great. Awesome.
How I'm curious with Boyd Executive Consulting. Give us before we shut it down here. We hit the 2-hour mark.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. We've had some catching up to do. We've done an over 3-hour episode a couple times on the show.
Yeah,
but you're Eastern time, so you got to get to bed pretty soon.
I'm not going to try to beat that. No.
no, don't worry about that. With Boyd Executive Consulting, give us a quick rundown of your services, how you do what you do, how somebody gets a hold of you if they want your help. Give us that rundown. Then I want to get into more specifics on it.
Yeah, so it's fractional CFO consulting firm, which if you don't know what that is, that's fine. We basically we combine past financial data with present situation and future focused data as well. So projections, forecasts, and we put it all together and we simplify complex financial concepts and help business owners understand what's going on with their business. We help educate them. We help them make decisions, provide a framework for decisions, actually make decisions. And we help them really. We're actually rebranding, so I'll give a little nod to that here. But the hint will be we're really the co-pilot is kind of how we view ourselves, where we are sort of the business owner's financial co-pilot, where we help them understand what's potentially going right in their business, what's going wrong in their business, what we can fix. So not only explaining where we're at, what's good, what's bad, but we help them fix that. So if there's a profit issue, if there's a cash flow issue, okay, we'll figure out what's the root cause of that. Is it a pricing issue? Is it compensation? Is it is it a sales thing? And we'll dig in, we'll figure out how to fix that. We'll help you fix it. We help make decisions. And then we also really focus on the future. And we do projections every month. We look at what is a forecast for your P&L, your balance sheet, your cash flow statement. How do we project issues that are going to arise with either seasonal businesses or big purchases, capital purchases that need to happen, hiring employees, different pricing, opening a new location, whatever it is. What are those things that are happening? And then how do our decisions that we're making today affect those? And how can we, if the future doesn't look so bright, how can we make it brighter by fixing those things today? So we turn, I like to say we turn financial stress into strategic clarity. And so we're really diving in, we're uncovering the problems, we're fixing them. And then we are walking alongside the business owner week by week, month by month, and helping them be more successful. That's sort of the benefits to the business. And then the personal benefits is obviously, confident decision-making. They can sleep at night. They don't need to, they know someone's watching over their shoulder, and they know they have a person to go to help with all these things. So it's, it overlaps coaching a little bit, but We work with a lot of people that also have business coaches, and we help support whatever strategy they're talking about. A lot of times coaches are more focused on, overall operations and, mentoring their employees and leading their employees and building a culture and all that kind of stuff. We're specifically focused on the financial piece, where we give them easy to understand data. We help them set up their budget, their metrics, the whole framework again. And as problems arise, we are there to tackle them with the business owner, while at the same time giving them a vision of, okay, here's what the future looks like. And what do we do about that, and walk them through, complex decisions. So it's kind of the super long description of what I do, but that's the best, most complete way I can describe it. So yeah.
I feel like there's a whole episode we need to do on AI and how we fit that into our businesses and where we see it working and where we see it like taking.
Yeah.
That'll be a different episode. We're not going to even get into it.
No.
I'm putting a note out there. What industries do y'all work with?
Yeah, so we do have a lot of home services, just because that's kind of our natural niche and context we had originally. But we're really not industry specific. So we've helped construction companies, manufacturing companies, professional services. We had one company who rented high-end chandeliers for big corporate events and weddings. It was a super unique business.
Awesome. Those are the coolest businesses. You're like, you do what, and they pay you what?
Yeah. It's like they pay you $15,000 to bring a couple of chandeliers for a night. Yeah, it's just a super unique business. But I always like to say the problems, the financials are all the same in all the different industries. The problems are all typically the same. Some of the problems are different, but they all boil down to the same root, things. And it's just that the terminology is a little bit different. The metrics are a little bit different, and the problems can have a different nuance to them. But at the end of the day, all the industries, they all have the same financials. They all deal with the same issues. So we're typically able to help people. The only thing that differs is like we'll do specific deep dives in different ways depending on the industry. So like for the manufacturing client, there's specific things that we can go look at that you don't need to or even have in a home services industry. So
manufacturing is the one oddball where I've stayed out of. I feel like if they're doing a service, I know what the chart of accounts needs to look like. I know what needs to go where and what groupings they should have. And what the balance sheet should look like. But like the minute you start doing manufacturing, you kind of have to default to accrual basis accounting. And then I'm like, you just should have somebody internal. Like if you're manufacturing, don't hire me, because I'm just going to tell you somebody needs to be there.
Right.
And I'm not going to be there, but if you're doing manufacturing, like you need somebody there.
Yes.
Like there's shit there.
Yes.
It's not a computer screen. There's things.
They have to
comes in this way, and then you do stuff to it, and then it does this, and then you do more stuff to it. It's like somebody's got to track that shit. And I can't. I'm over here. Somebody needs to be there.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So it's true. It's a whole different animal, and those clients, luckily, they have good bookkeepers, or we recommend that they get good bookkeepers. Because it's a whole different animal. And that stuff's got to be right in order for it to make sense. So for sure.
How often do you run into that where it's like you're trying to do some budgeting or consulting and you're like, here's based on your data today, here's what's going on, but who's doing your books anyway?
Exactly. You clearly don't have best damn bookkeeping, because
I'm not quite sure there's much analysis that can be done right now. We got to go back to step one, which is, where the hell did you get these numbers from?
So that usually comes up right in the discovery phase, hopefully, where it's just like, hey, I see, here's some initial things that I see, let's talk about that. Because at the end of the day, that's a shout out to best damn bookkeeping and bookkeepers everywhere, where it's like, that's the foundation of everything. And if that's not right, nothing else works. And so it's super important to have that right, because you can't build a house on a shaky foundation, right? It just doesn't work. So everything is going to be crooked. You're going to make a recommendation, and it's like, but that's pointing you this way because the foundation isn't straight. So,
are you like, at that point, are you saying like, hey, assuming here's what the data tells, but we should really go back and fix that because like we need to make sure that the inputs are right to get the outputs.
Right.
Like, how often do you need to like put a condition on your analysis to say assuming or but or like
it doesn't it doesn't happen that often, luckily, but if there's small things, it's easy to be like, hey, I see this, but it's not a big deal, and that's it's not going to really impact what we're looking at, but at least we call it out. But at the end of the day, I mean, there's definitely an order of which we do things, right? And if that is one of the problems that we have to tackle, then we have to tackle that first, and then we deal with that, and then move on to the next thing, right? That shows up. But you can't, if I don't know a good analogy, but it just has to be dealt with, I guess, one way or the other. So, that's kind of what we deal with.
Let's go to a baseball analogy. It's like stepping into the batter's box and like you have great hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
But you've got like one hand on the top of the bat and one hand on the bottom of the bat, and you're just standing behind home plate, like when that pitch comes, I'm just gonna boop it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Get it.
Yeah, it's just it's like if your house is on fire, you're not going to take the time to be like, how does my hair look, right? You're going to be like, well, let's take care of the fire problem first, and then let's see where we're at and what's the next biggest problem after that, right? So if the numbers
your hair looks fine, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Your hair looks fine.
Yeah, so it's like you got to deal with the biggest problems first, right? And so that's a big thing that we work through is like prioritization, right? Where it's like, hey, you may be concerned about this, but here's a bigger issue I see. Let's talk about this first. Or they want to tackle three different things. Entrepreneur, it's like, well, I need to fix the pay scale, and I really want to do an incentive here, and I really want to open this other location or offer this new product, and I'm my sales guy, and I need to hire this person. I need an operations manager. You're just like, okay, hold on, so you really have to prioritize, and then say, okay, I'm a big like, I want to solve this problem 100% or darn near 100% before we move to the next one, right? Because a lot of times you get it half done and then you work on the next one, and then the first problem gets bigger again and you got to go tackle it again. So, I not 100% of the time, but you try to get it done and then move to the next thing and make it a logical order so that there's some traction, there's some momentum, and there's some things you can say once that's fixed. Now we can actually observe it to see if it's good, if it's better or not, if we need to revisit it. If it is, great, and then we'll move on to the next thing. But you got to get things in the right priority, and if your numbers are wrong, that's top priority, because without that, how are you able to run your business?
Flying blind, making dumbass decisions with a bag over your head.
Yeah, exactly. So,
which in a funny way is like what new business owners default to.
Yeah,
like so many of them they're just like afraid of their numbers and are more comfortable.
Yep.
Like putting a blindfold on and throwing a dart at a donkey's ass.
Yeah.
Like it's really like a goofy thing. Sometimes they're so afraid of their numbers.
Yep.
And it's like, man, you don't need to be scared of it. They're not. They're a report card.
Right.
Like, you don't need to be scared of your report card. You need to look at it and learn where you suck.
Right.
So you know what to do better. Like, here's your livelihood. This isn't like Spanish 101.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to get a foreign language credit.
Yeah.
Which I did by studying abroad, by the way.
Yeah.
Her name was Kate back then. But like, this is your livelihood. This matters. Like, don't hide from it. Embrace it. Like, if there's something you're doing wrong, don't avoid it.
Right.
Know what it is. Get after it. You chose to run a business. You chose this. You chose this. Make some decisions. Get after it.
Yep. And I understand it's like a lot of people didn't, they don't understand. They didn't go to school for that. They're really good at, they started a business. They're entrepreneurial. They're really good at doing their craft and they're making money, which is great. And they don't they don't have the financial background that you and I do, right? So I get that to a certain degree, but so that's why part of it is, and you deal with this too, is like, we want to educate you on what you're looking at and what to look at and what's good and what's bad, and recognize this, because as a business owner, you need to own it. It doesn't matter how many people you have around you. You got to own it. It's your business, right? So we'll help you educate you, but then, we also got to say, okay, now we want it to be better. How do we do that? Right? What's the next step? And making those decisions, giving the illumination, shining the flashlight in the dark corner. So like, to your point, you got to see what's there. You can't ignore it. But once we do that, now it's like, okay, now we have what we need to make a decision. So let's go and let's enable you to do that. But I think so. That's what I get enjoyment out of, right? Is helping people learn more about their business and see that light and start thinking differently, right? Like, a lot of clients are like, I've never thought about this way before. If my bank account was low, I went and sold some more stuff, and if it was high, I felt good. And they, and then how do I just want to change prices because I feel like it's a good decision. And it's like, I've never had to think through that and say, stop, let's make sure we think through this methodically. So it's seeing that shift in business owners to start thinking more like a business owner and strategically is really cool. And that's like, I get a ton of enjoyment out of seeing that and seeing them mature and seeing that light come on. Yeah.
It's trying to find this bridge between the lessons learned in the corporate world of like, do your due diligence, right? But don't get caught up in the politics and assessing something 78 times to scratch some people's backs. But also, don't just make a decision with pure gut, no data, and convincing yourself of something emotionally because you think something is a certain way. Get some data, get some certainty, and make a decision fast. And there's always I had a podcast earlier today where we were talking about pricing, and I think pricing is such a funny thing because, especially in home services, like at IBM, when you guys did pricing, like, you're publishing a thing and you're communicating it broadly, and so it's sticky for a period of time. In home services, you can change your prices tomorrow. Nobody that finds you tomorrow knows what you charged yesterday. But we're all like reluctant to change it and figure out what the market rate really is. But it's like, man, like, go get that data, figure out what the market rate is. And even if you're brand new, don't charge $99 for a thing that should be $300 just because your costs aren't there. This is my lecture earlier today, is like, charge the market rate. Don't charge based on your costs, charge the market rate. Because even if your costs are low because you don't have the infrastructure and you're the one doing the labor, assuming you scale, you're going to need to hire the labor, and you're going to need to rent the facility, and you're going to need the badass software, and you're going to need to pay for the marketing and blah, 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 blah. You're going to have those costs eventually. So start charging the right amount. Don't freaking undercut everybody and be the shithead charging $99 for a thing that should charge $299. Charge $299. Like, the customer's willing to pay for it. You don't need to charge $99 and not make as much money. Yeah, you might feel like you're making way too much, but trust me, once you have to pay all the cost to scale a business, you're gonna be glad you were charging $299 instead of $99. Exactly. Charge the market rate. There's a reason why the market rate is the market rate. You're not winning if you undercut it. You're losing, and you're causing everybody else to lose too. Right. Like, charge it right. Bryn, what are you doing back there? Are you playing piano? I see. I saw her.
I have no idea.
She came out of
that far back.
She came out of the piano.
I did.
Like, there's a piano back there, and in classic Bryn fashion, she just popped out of it.
I didn't.
Our house is magic.
Yeah, I didn't mention that she died last week, and that's just her ghost returning. Yeah, it's really creepy, but we still get along.
Yeah,
that's classic Bryn. Classic Bryn.
I promise to never leave him. I'm just doing my
just haunting. Now you're just haunting.
More fun. It's like not
way more fun that way. Way more fun that way. Oh yeah, it's cool.
Well, sorry about that, guys.
No, that was fun.
Are you pulling an all-nighter here, or what do you guys?
We got a couple more hours to go. We figured buckled in, and hey, by the way, can you send me some beers, Brent? Can you carve me some beers? Running out. I threw away the case of Natty Lights that my monitor used to sit on, so now I don't have beers like right next to me.
Oh yeah. You need to like have call DoorDash or something.
Yeah.
So
somebody better do something. There was a time earlier in the episode here where I like heard doors slamming and I was like, is it Bryn? Is it like, who's over there? Is it Claire? Is it Kate? Like, I want to like say hi.
Yeah.
But they never showed up behind the and I was just like, I don't know who to yell at to say what's up. Like, maybe they'll get close enough where I can see who.
Did you hear me out there being like, "What are you doing slamming the door? Dad's on a call."
No, I didn't, but I exactly know what that sounds like. Perfect. You nailed it. You nailed Bryn. Ghost Bryn nailed real Bryn.
That was the most Bryn thing I've ever said.
You executed it really well. Good job.
Yes.
Okay, I'll let you guys finish. Sorry about that.
Nope.
Hey, you guys all need to go to bed. It's like you're living in the future anyway.
Yeah. I know. This East Coast time is killing us, man.
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
There she goes. She went back into the piano now.
Yes.
Which again is like a very Bryn thing. She's just like, I'm just gonna go do some music stuff. I'm just hopping into the piano.
Yeah.
Well, the dog wants to.
He's gonna take this dog.
I love it.
Oh,
it is like with little kids and trying to do business from home. It's like whenever they're home, there's a 75% chance one of my kids is in the meeting.
Yes.
And it's just like, man, if you don't like this, don't fucking work with me, man. Cause like this is what's happening. This is what we're doing around here. Like if you don't like little kids, you ain't gonna like working with me because these kids are here.
Yeah.
And unless Marty divorces me, like we're gonna be here. These kids are gonna be stuck here for a while. Like apparently I'm responsible for
apparently.
them.
Yeah. When did that happen?
Know. Like I didn't choose this. This happened to me. This is the thing that happened to me. Yeah.
I'm a victim here.
Yeah, man. I'm a victim. You and me both. I'm a victim. All right, I got a closing question for you, Justin. First, closing question. If somebody needs financial analysis help, CFO help, rebranding help, now that you're rebranding, how does somebody get a hold of you if they want to chat business stuff with you?
Yeah. So, Boyd Executive Consulting.com. My email is justin@boydexecutiveconsulting.com. I have a Calendly link. It's calendly.com/jboydcfo. And so, that's our socials too, is jboydcfo. So we are rebranding. So we should have that out shortly. I don't know if you want me to spill the beans, but what it's going to be.
You can. I don't know if you want me to want you to spill the beans. Kind of your beans to spill. I'm not going to tell you to spill them or not spill them.
I did announce another. It's going to be cash flow co-pilot. So that's what it's going to be. So that's going to be. I like aviation, and it's a good analogy for what I feel like I do. And so, so it's going to be. We're going to be the cash flow co-pilot. So that'll be coming soon. But for now, I'm at the usual place. I like it. All right, I got a closing question for you. Yeah. This is the one we end all episodes with when I remember to do it, because sometimes I don't probably. Let's assume there's like a set of constraints I gotta put around you. Which generally involves, I just don't know what exactly it should be, but they generally involve like you can't do what you're doing now. So let's say you can't do CFO work for people. Mm-hmm. And let's say you can't go back to the corporate world. You can't just go like say, I'm going to go get a job. Yep. But tomorrow you wake up, your business doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. And you can't just go do CFO stuff and like recreate it. And you got to go do something. And it should probably make you like a few bucks, but I don't want money to be like the object of all things. Like, oh my God, I got to go make a living, blah, 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 blah. Like I want it to be something you're really passionate about, but it's got to be something people would pay you for too. I love that. I love to go down that path of like where your inspiration really lies. If that world existed tomorrow, you can't go do the corporate thing because you're no longer employable now that you've been an entrepreneur. It's like you never work for somebody again. And you can't do CFO stuff for people. What would you go do tomorrow? Oh man. I would love to. I've always loved flying airplanes. Like I mentioned, I wanted to be a pilot at some point. So I would love to if money wasn't an option, if I got to actually learn how to do it first, I would love to fly more and then teach other people how to fly. I think that would be a ton of fun.
Would you fly? Like, that's a broad category.
Yeah.
You could go fly commercially.
Yep.
That's a thing.
Yep.
You could go fly Air Force, military.
Yep.
You could go fly the plane where the person rides up on the wings and like straps in. Fucking crazy bastards. Crazy. What would you fly?
Probably just for recreational. I mean, just small planes. I've wanted to get into powered parachuting down here as well, like where you strap the big fan to your back and then you put the parachute up top, because that's big down here. But I think just smaller planes, just for fun, just teaching people how to get their private licenses and instrument ratings and things like that. I decided that I'd thought about actually being a pilot before I started my business, like going back and doing it again, like midlife. But I think I don't want to be away from home that much. They're home a lot, but they're also away from home for big stretches. Yeah. So I think anything that would be more regional. I love being around airplanes. I can watch them take off and land all day, and just being around them is just joyful. So anything that would allow me to be there and then make a few bucks teaching other people, about it would be great.
What does it take to be a flight instructor? Because this is totally going to happen. Like as you're like selling your business or like exiting it in retirement, you're going to be a flight instructor. It's like it's bound to happen if you love it, right?
Yeah.
What does that take to be able to go teach other people?
Yes. Well, you got to get all your private and your instrument rating and all that stuff first. A lot of people will do their multi-engine and complex aircraft, and there's other things, but then they have a CFI, it's called, that you get, where it's basically more. I mean,
you're pretty much, you got 3 of the letters. You just swap one vowel. You got the CFO. You just got to swap one vowel.
And you're a CFI. Yeah, exactly. You get that, the CFI and the CFII, depending on if you want to teach multi-engine and complex, things like that, then it's like a CFII. But basically you get all your stuff and then you get additional certifications to then teach the stuff that you just learned. But then it's kind of a slow grind for a while, but it would be more of a passion if money was no object, it'd be more of a passion of just fun. So
hell yeah. Yeah, we got Darlene checking in at the closing hour. Waited 2.5 hours to check in and say, "Oh shit, Darlene, how you doing? Good to hear from you."
Yeah.
Justin, what are the planes? What are like the little planes with the big tires that they fly up in Alaska? Cub.
Oh, like the bush planes? Yeah, like there's Cubs. And I can't remember what else, but a lot of them are Piper Cubs. Yeah.
Yeah.
The big tires. That'd be fun. That'd be cool. Like bush.
It's
a little more dangerous, but they land on icebergs, and they land in, whatever, just
random ass.
Random bushwhacking pilots. Yeah.
So my follow-up question in that regard is if you're doing flight stuff, is it about the flying? This goes back to Darlene, this is still live. I'm calling you out. We're still live. This is a marathon. We're going way back. We've been at it. Anyway, is it about the flight, right? Or is it about the places you get to fly? Because I think that's one of the cool things about flying is like it gets you to otherwise places that you just kind of only dream about. And like that's mystical to me. I don't know if it's mystical to you or if you just like you said, you like to watch airplanes and like the idea of flight is awesome.
Yeah.
Is it more about the ability to fly, which is fucking cool in its own space?
Yeah.
Or is it like you can just go dump into some random place in Alaska that nobody else can get to and see cool stuff from the sky?
Yeah, I think originally it was more about just the flight itself. I was always fascinated because when you're up there, every time you're flying, you just feel like you're not worried. Like the earth feels so small and all the problems that are down there feel so small, and sitting at a red light in traffic, it's like you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff, and you just leave all of that and you have this freedom to say, I'm going to go up or down or turn left or right whenever I want. And, for the most part, without crashing in other planes.
Except for when air traffic control tells you not to get shit off.
Yeah. But you just have this freedom, and it's so peaceful, and it's just, you leave everything behind. And it's just like, I love that feeling. So I think, originally that's what it was more about. But now that we've, in the last several years have been traveling so much, I think that's a bigger component now is where could we fly to? And that's one of our retirement dreams is there's a plane called the Icon A5, and it's an amphibian. So you can land on it's
water. Ambidextrous.
Ambidextrous. Yeah. Just like Dusty's baseball hitting. You can land on water. You can put the wheels down, and then the wings fold up, and you can trailer it behind a truck.
No shit.
It's like, and it's a 2-person, and you don't even need a full pilot's license. I think you can get just like your light sport aircraft license. But anyways, like we're thinking that would be the coolest thing. We could just hop in there, like go a couple hours away and eat lunch and come back and, see some, dive into some ponds and some lakes and some crazy places that you wouldn't normally see. But so I think that adventure definitely would be a bigger part of it now that I'm at this stage of life. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It is literally to get Crosby. He just turned 3 days ago. Yeah. To get him to go to bed tonight, I had to tell him we're going on an adventure. Like that's his desire is to like not do anything of the mundane.
Yeah.
Last week we were hanging out in the swimming pool, and it was just him and I. The girls had something. Marty was doing whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just Crosby and I together. And to like get him to be content with what we were doing instead of being like, we're just gonna hang out by the pool. It was like we're gonna go on an adventure in the backyard. Like had to be an adventure. So like tonight he wouldn't go to bed when I was like, I got a podcast, right?
Yeah.
And I had to be like, hey bud, you want to know something really cool? You want to like, I don't know if it's gonna excite you too much that you won't be able to go to bed, but we're going on an adventure tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're driving 6 hours. You're gonna love it. You're gonna be in your car seat for 6 hours going to Lake Michigan tomorrow. And then we're going to go salmon fishing the next day. I didn't tell him that he's probably not going to come out on the salmon boat because the weather's going to kind of suck and the waves might be big. But we're going on an adventure, bud.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, an adventure? Okay. Like, then he's in. It's like
so
if the word adventure gets mentioned.
Oh, my gosh.
He's all about it. He's in.
That's
Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
As long as it's an adventure.
I'm in. Yeah.
Anything with the word adventure is cool.
Yeah. That's cool. That's awesome.
Happening.
I do have to get you down here to teach me how to fish because we tried on Father's Day, and I don't know, I've always loathed fishing. I think part of it was scarred as a kid, but I don't know, I'm not great at it, especially saltwater. It's like I have no idea what I'm doing. But we went out and we had the poles and we had some frozen shrimp and some worms and different baits, and we were trying all kinds of different things, and just constant problems with poles and getting birds' nests and just getting tangled up.
That's called kids. That's called having kids.
I know that's a big part of it, but I'm also like, I don't know what kind of bait I'm supposed to use, where to go, when to go, and it's constantly shifting. And so it seems like every time we go out, all it is issues, and we don't catch anything. And so I'm like, I need someone like Dan to show me what I need to do.
Sign me up. I'm in.
Yeah.
We're going on an adventure. We're gonna go on an adventure, Justin.
Yeah. Take me on an adventure. Yeah.
It'd be so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Darlene says adventures at the bomb. Yeah. We're going on an adventure, Darlene.
Let's do it. Yeah. So anytime, open invitation to come to Florida and saltwater fish with me.
I'll let you know next time I'm coming down. We'll do it. We'll go explore.
Yeah.
Darlene's from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. She's biased. She said, just grab worms and go with it.
Yeah. Well, that's I'm used to fishing in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan. It's like lots of panfish and
some leeches, some minnows, whatever.
Yeah.
Just go. Send
some spinner baits for bass or whatever. But it's like down here, it's a whole different deal. Yeah. I don't get it.
Yeah, saltwater gets a little goofy, and saltwater gear sucks. It's like you got to wash the shit out of everything every time you use it, or it just rusts to pieces in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It's kind of like driving a car in the Midwest.
Yeah,
it's like fishing with saltwater gear, and saltwater is like you got to treat it the same. If you don't wash it, things are gonna fall apart.
Yeah, exactly. The people with boats, it's amazing because they have to do the same thing with the engines. It's like they gotta flush them out every time they go out. But yeah.
Just got a big vat. You just put your motor in a big vat. Just like run it on idle for a little bit. Cycle through. I don't know what they do. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, they hook a hose up, and then you can hook a hose up to it.
Oh, the muffs. Yeah, you run the muffs. Yeah. I got muffs in the garage. Actually, I need to do that. This was like a super proud dad moment.
Yeah,
because I'm constantly trying to, like, what's the right word? Manipulate is the best word I can come up. I'm constantly trying to like manipulate my kids into liking the stuff that I like.
Yeah.
But it's like you don't want to push them to play this sport or do this activity, right? Like, because if they're anything like me, which I assume they're a little bit like me since they're half of me, if you tell me to do something, that's all the motivation I need to do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Like I just hate following instructions. Like if you're like pushing me to do something, I'm going to do the exact opposite. And I'm well aware of that with my kids. So I'm like really careful not to be like, you need to go do this. I'm almost like, you wouldn't like this, right? Like, you like fishing? You probably wouldn't even like it.
Yeah.
We don't have any snacks. We don't have any fun. It's miserable out there. You wouldn't even like it. It's like somebody's watching you eat a dessert and you're like, oh, it's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like Danny, my oldest, will like this year she got up turkey hunting, like shot a turkey with me.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize in Minnesota there's like no minimum age requirement. So like
9 years
go out and like get a turkey tag and shoot a turkey. So we did that together, and she'll come out deer hunting and like hang off the side of a tree with me. She has no aversion to like go do outdoorsy stuff, but she hasn't gotten into fishing yet. Like she loves the deer hunting stuff. She really enjoyed the turkey hunting stuff.
Yeah.
But she hasn't really gotten into fishing besides what kind of snacks are we going to have? Like it's always about snacks.
Yeah.
And this year she specifically said, like the last few years we did this, her birthday is June 22nd. So in a few days here, she turns 9, and we've gone bluegill fishing on the local lake. And I got like a little spot where we get some nice bluegills and take them home, cut them up, fry them up. And like 2 months ago, she said, "Hey Dad, can we go bluegill fishing for my birthday again?" And I was just like, yeah.
Yes, if you want to, sure. For you.
Yeah. Let me like try to hide my excitement. So it's interesting, like watching your kids like start to show interest in your shit, and you're like I don't know if I should acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Or like, do I treat this like high school dating and I play hard to get?
Hard
like,
to get.
No, I don't know if you're ready to reel in a bluegill all by yourself, honey.
Yeah,
you can do that. But anyway, like so we're going bluegill fishing next Tuesday.
That's cool. Yeah,
that's the deal.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's funny trying to navigate that.
It is.
Get that with kids.
Yeah, for sure. But all right, man. Well, it is officially midnight, so we should probably wrap it up.
No, it's not. It's 10:59, which means it's 11:59. It's not officially midnight.
Oh, that's true. You're right. I called it too early. But
it's about to be. I mean, I'm not surprised we went for 2 hours and 37 minutes because it's been a while since we chatted. We had all kinds of good shit to catch up on, and we should do it again.
Yeah.
Any like closing thoughts, closing comments, closing things to leave the listeners with?
Oh man, that's a heavy ask. I would say from a business standpoint, don't get frustrated and don't give up on things. Right? There's if you need help, there's always people out there to help. Especially with the financial piece, I see it day in day out, right? Where it can be very daunting and heavy, and people just want to quit or give up or ignore it. And don't do that, right? There's people out there to help you with that. So from a personal standpoint, I just echo, what we talked about before is find what you like to do and make the defining success, make that about what you want it to be about, right? Define success the way you want to define it, and not how other people define it. And that's the way to make the business work for you instead of the other way around. Don't be a slave to your own business, but have it be a tool to give you the life that you want. So I think that was a really impactful thing that we talked about. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Good close.
Good. Yeah. But thank you for having me on. It was fun. It's always, time always flies when we're chatting. So yeah, it was good to catch up.
Hell yeah, man. We'll do it again.
Yes.
And I'm going to come down fishing. Not like you already know this about me, but like, I'm not afraid to invite myself either. I'm coming down. I'll let you know when I'm coming. We're going to go out and do some fishing and have a hell of a time.
Yeah.
So we'll just figure out when that's going to happen.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah.
We got to do some duck hunting again too. It's been a long time since I've had some ducks in the freezer, and that was always a blast.
I do miss that. Yeah. I don't know much about hunting down here either. That's another thing I got to learn. It's a whole different deal, but yeah, I love, miss the bird hunting. That's a ton of fun. Yeah.
We'll figure it out. All right, man. Good chatting with you.
You too.
Home service homies. Thank you guys for tuning in. Darlene, just staying up late. Go to bed, Darlene. What are you even still doing? She's probably working. She's badass. All right. Home service homies. You guys know what to do. Work smarter and harder. Go earn some pride and have a good time doing it. Enjoy the journey. And good night. Peace.